Shangguanzhong laughs, his black robe is windless, his black hair is dancing, and his face is ferocious. The smile and expression on his face are very different from his murderous spirit. Long Qingxie, you speak so loudly, but it really suits you. It seems that if you don't bury yourself here today, you will die forever. With that, his whole body was black and steaming. Suddenly, he couldn't see his wrapped face clearly. He laughed and his terrible nails seemed to grow a little longer. Standing not far away, Dragon Qingxie and Cloud Dance almost felt the powerful pressure at the same time, and could not help but step back, with a pale face. Standing in the same place, Shuang frowned. Cloud Dance asked, "How do we deal with Shangguanzhong?" Long Qingxie didn't look at her. He stared at Shangguanzhong without blinking. After thinking for a long time, he said in a deep voice, "My Dharma array may be able to hold him for a period of time, but now the premise is that if I want to establish this Dharma array, you must help me cover it. It takes some time." Yunwu's eyes are bright. Yes, although the realm of the dragon's Dharma array is not as high as Shangguanzhong's, its ability to build Dharma array is better than Shangguanzhong's. If you can use the array to slow down Shangguanzhong's attack speed, it's okay. It's not easy, he said with a smile. Yunwu suddenly put Guwu broadsword in front of him and said with a smile, "Maybe it's impossible for me to kill him, but if I can drag him for a moment and a half, there's still no problem." With that, before Long Qingxie could speak, he was already flying up. The whole person was wrapped in fighting spirit, and the thunder element fled on the broadsword. Seeing this, Long Qingxie starts to smile, nods, sits cross-legged, closes his eyes, and begins to prepare to perform the array. Cloud Dance glances at the dragon's evil spirit behind him. His eyes are very bright. With a smile, he shakes the sword of ancient martial arts to fight with Shangguanzhong. When Shangguanzhong saw the Cloud Dance, the purple fighting spirit was wrapped up all over his body, and the thunder element on the sword was obviously attached, so he was in a hurry to meet the Cloud Dance. With a sneer, Yunwu throws the sword away. The huge blade cuts off the face of Shangguanzhong without reservation. The fierce murderous atmosphere makes Shangguanzhong surprised. Shangguanzhong is very confused. On the one hand, he is very surprised that Yunwu is so powerful now. Originally, he can't accept his 3 or 2 moves of Yunwu, but now he can stand in such a stalemate with himself. Yu Guang glimpses the dragon Qingxie behind Yunwu. The dragon Qingxie sits behind Yunwu with his knees crossed. At this time, he looks like a turtle with a shrunken head and doesn't say a word. It was very difficult for Shangguanzhong to understand, but looking at Yunwu's bright eyes, Shangguanzhong suddenly felt that this matter might not be so simple. He was very cunning when he thought of Yunwu and Longqingxi's coming to Japan, so he immediately became alert. But Cloud Dance or an inch don't let, dead guard behind of Long Qing evil, Small 9 and Small Stink also recall side. He surrounded Shangguanzhong in front of Yunwu and didn't let him, which made Shangguanzhong a little worried. Although the two men's realm was not so good, they usually had the most ghost ideas. Now it seems that Dragon Qingxie must be sitting there doing something important. So, Shangguanzhong suddenly murderous, mind, absolutely can't let Dragon Evil succeed, no matter what he is doing now. Kill them as soon as possible. So the black fighting spirit was concentrated on his hand, and he split his hand to Yunwu. But Yunwu seemed to be ready. He suddenly wrapped his whole body with fighting spirit, and the ancient martial arts sword was horizontal in front of him. He stiffly blocked Shangguanzhong's hand, and the silver teeth were biting. Originally, he was in the battle with Shangguanzhong. Cloud Dance already had some slight internal injury, but now another attack, let her some unable to fight. Little fellow. All right, Dragon Qingxie suddenly yelled behind him. Then, Dragon Qingxie suddenly put his hands on the ground and closed his eyes. Then, Yunwu only felt that the surrounding area was full of invisible forces. A barrier that could not be seen by the naked eye spread out in front of them, slowly expanded towards the 4 directions, and finally wrapped up the whole valley. Many of his subordinates clearly felt that this place was suddenly surrounded by some forces. Shangguanzhong's face suddenly changed greatly. Now this feeling made Shanggunsung understand that he was trapped in the Dharma array set by Longqingxi. And this array seems to be able to restrain his fighting spirit, so that his fighting spirit cannot be fully displayed in any case. Yunwu, who is opposite Shanggunsung, can't help but raise her mouth. She looks at Shanggunsung in a panic, and suddenly feels very happy. Suddenly, she raises Guwu's sword and cuts it across. In front of him, Shanggunsung's face changed greatly, and he quickly raised his hand to block it. However, his fighting spirit was restrained by the Dharma array, which made him face changed greatly. So he was taken out by Yunwu's knife. Rao was like this. Yunwu's knife didn't hurt Shanggunsung. When he turned his head and looked around, countless black-robed people were killed. The scene was very sad. He bowed his head and thought for a moment, then suddenly waved his hand and took the people to the other end of the valley to escape. Longqingxia frowned slightly, suddenly untied the Dharma array and let them go. Why let them go? There are people around who are not willing to shout. Because if we don't let them go, I'm afraid it will be us. Longqingxia looks at Shanggunsung Road which is disappearing in front of him. Let's see what's going on. Longqingxia murmured. His face was very ugly. The clouds around him were also very ugly. Now it seems that the casualties on his side must be much more serious than those in the direction of the Beast Gate. When I went back to the main battlefield, I found that the corpses on the ground had been piled up into mountains and rivers of blood. The whole valley was silent, and the dead people had stopped breathing and were cold. But the living people are also very heavy. No one is willing to speak. They are just carrying the body of their brother in silence. The brother who laughed yesterday has now become a body. Yunwu couldn't help sighing. He looked down at the people lying on the ground, familiar faces. Some people were still open, others were sad and frowned. The battle was really fierce. Originally, not long ago, they were excited to call the boss because they regained the human world. Now, they have become cold corpses, which makes Yunwu very sad. He turns to see the dragon, but his eyes are firm. The sacrifice of his companions will only be more and more, and what we have to do is to kill all the beasts as soon as possible. Longqingxia is very indifferent. Looking at the black-robed man who is not dead on the ground, he mends his sword and kicks to one side. Seeing the wounded on his side, he rushes forward and calls Yunwu for treatment. In the camp, there was silence. Everyone carried the corpses and treated the wounded in silence. No one said a word more. The atmosphere was very heavy. Hurry up, everyone. We must leave here as soon as possible. If Shanggunsung comes back again, I'm afraid he will bring more powerful men. Cloud dance way, everybody helps each other, still can walk of, now will oneself nearby of person all help, we immediately set out. The people around didn't speak, they all quietly walked out of the valley with the clouds. There is an extremely hidden cave in the upper boundary. The cave entrance is located in the middle of a mountain among the mountains. The cave entrance is also covered by a variety of lush vegetation. People who are not very familiar with the terrain will not easily find the cave entrance. The most important thing is that it is easy to defend and difficult to attack. But in this not too big cave, there are many people sitting or lying in it. These people are unified black tights, most of them have disordered breath, and even a lot of the wounded. Chief, I'm fine. Go and have a rest. A wounded killer showed a hard smile and said to Yunwu, but the smile on his face was really ugly. Don't talk. I'll heal you. Cloud Dance coldly said, the expression on the face is always serious, but the same cannot be refuted. I don't know how many wounded people she rescued. I only know that since she brought everyone to this cave, Yunwu has been working hard to heal people. There is a lot of pills in the tomb. Yunwu finds out the pills that can cure the wound and gives them to everyone. He urges Hyo to refine new pills. And she herself, together with Mu Xiuming and other military doctors, healed the wounded, one by one, as if there was no end. So many people didn't know when to treat them. Cloud Dance's eyes already had obvious blood, but the action on the hand never stopped. There will be no life-threatening, but don't take too much action for the time being. Keep your physical strength and work on your own to repair the next damage. After the treatment of another wounded, Yunwoo gave a few simple orders and stood up to see the next wounded. Just did not stand firm body, Cloud Dance will feel a whirl, immediately rely on instinct to hold the side of the cave, this just let oneself did not fall. Little Dance. Seeing the action of Cloud Dance, many people exclaimed. A figure directly came forward to hold Yunwoo in her arms and looked at her anxiously. Little guy, take a rest. There are military doctors here. Long Qingxie looks at her anxiously. After the battle, Long Qingxie was also injured, but as a leader, he was the first one to be cured by Yunwoo, and his injury was getting better and better. But Yunwoo is getting more and more tired. I wish I could help her, but I'm always ordered by Yunwoo to have a good rest. But now, how can he have a good rest? No way. Cloud Dance retorted, so many wounded, one more, I'll be faster. After that, Yunwoo glared at Long Qingxie and said, who allowed you to get up? Go back and lie down. The wound on your body. My injury is over. The dragon leans evil and says fiercely, it's you. You'll lie down if you don't rest. After that, he picked up Yunwoo and went to the temporary mat, gently put her on it, then lay down beside her and put her in his arms. You let me go, Cloud Dance immediately want to struggle, but just move not twice, then feel to embrace his arm circle more tightly. No. If you move any more, my wound will burst open. Dragon Qing Evil said mercilessly, simply closed his eyes. You Cloud Dance can't speak for a moment. Let's not say that there are so many wounded people to be treated, and this is a cave. There is no shelter around. All the soldiers are here, and their behavior has been seen by others. Just have a rest and close your eyes. I'll call you half an hour later, and you can continue the treatment, okay? Dragon Qing Evil changed tone, gentle say. Yes, Chief, take a rest. What if you are in a bad state? Treatment is a matter of great energy. Yes, Chief, just have a rest. Long Qingxie's words resonated, and a group of people said to Yunwoo with one voice, hoping that she could have a rest. Long Qingxie was very satisfied. He put a smile on his mouth and said, look, what the people want. Yunwoo pursed her mouth and ignored him. She really closed her eyes and had a rest. Seeing her like this, people were relieved. The military doctors in the team also took turns to rest, but they refused to rest after several turns of Cloud Dance. Now they see that Cloud Dance is so tired that everyone is more clean, so the rest time is reduced and the work progress is accelerated. Half an hour passed quickly, but Yunwoo was still in deep sleep. They didn't ask her to sleep for a while. Finally, all the wounded were treated in an hour, and the rest of the minor injuries were healed by their own cultivation. Until this time, everyone was relieved. Gao Yu arranged the time for everyone to watch the night, and let everyone have a rest. After the war, the rest lasted until the night of the second day. Fortunately, the place I was looking for was very remote. I was afraid that the Beast Gate was not easy to find, so no one came to look for it. But what we don't know is that during their rest time, there has been a world shaking on the other side of the Beast Gate. On the main hall of the Beast Gate headquarters, Shenguansheng glared angrily at several people kneeling below. You mean that the human world has been taken back by Yunwoo, and you are the only people I sent to the human world? Is that right? The following several people immediately trembled on the ground and did not dare to speak, for fear that they would be killed directly. Shenguansheng snorted coldly, can you explain to me why there are only a few of you left? And why don't you come back to the upper boundary and report immediately, instead of hiding? Well, as soon as these words came out, the following people were even more afraid to speak. Why are they hiding? It's not worried that Shenguansheng will get angry when he knows about the human world. Then they will have to die. But who would have thought that their strength was too obvious, and they happened to meet the strict time to catch Long Qingxie and other people. They were all dressed in black clothes. As soon as they arrived at Shangjie, they were targeted. Then they confessed their identity, and then they were sent over. Finally, I can't avoid this disaster. Several people think of tragedy in their hearts. Why don't you talk? Are they all dead? Shangguan's Hong see two people don't speak, again cold drink Wei. Lord Hui Yunwu led the army to attack that human world. Yunwu is now the peak of Wuling. I can't beat it. Those people finally someone opened a mouth, just don't dare to answer why to hide. Oh. Really? Shangguan's Hong narrowed his eyes dangerously, then why did you only live? What about the others? Others have died in duty. We wanted to report to them, but when we thought that we didn't stay with them at the critical moment, we felt guilty, so we wanted to atone for our sins and see if we could find out what happened to those people in Yunwu. Several people racked their brains to think about countermeasures, and strive to reduce their guilt to the minimum, so that Shangguan's Hong can leave a way for themselves. But they forget, Shangguan's Hong is the patriarch, can't you see their mind? Yes. Shangguan's Hong asked in a soft voice, but although the voice was not irritable, it always made people feel inexplicable chilly. The people below shivered one after another. You're really thinking about my beast gate? Shangguan's Hong suddenly gave a loud drink. Since you feel guilty for not accompanying the group of waste people to die, you don't have to feel guilty from now on. Just go to accompany them. After that, he waved his hand directly, and several people in black came forward immediately, grabbed them and dragged them down. Lord! Lord, spare your life, Lord, please let us go. We are willing to atone for our sins. Please forgive me. The scream went farther and farther, and none of the people standing below dared to plead for them. The only one standing below who hesitated was Shangguanli. Suzerain, it's time for us to employ people. Shangguanli hesitated for a long time and finally said. So what? Shangguan's Hong said coldly, I want to employ people in the Beast Gate. Do I have to use these wastes? Once these words came out, even Shangguan's Hong didn't dare to say anything more, so he had to lower his head and let Shangguan's Hong go. Cloud dance. Shangguan's Hong narrowed his eyes, thinking about the sudden emergence of the army, covered with glittering armor, which was quite different from them in the past. Now it seems that we must get rid of Yunwu as soon as possible, Lord. Shangguanli exports again. Shangguan's Hong frowned and asked in a cold voice, what's the problem? Shangguanli quickly lowered his head, back to the Lord, my subordinates want to say, should we find a way to find out the spy first? Otherwise, we will deal with them. We are always a little tricky. This time, Shangguan's Hong finally nodded and said, that's right. What can you do to find out? Shangguan thought about it and finally showed a smile. Time flies. In a twinkling of an eye, 7 days have passed. In the past 7 days, everyone hid in the cave. Yunwu set up a border around the cave. He also ordered the people to expand the cave continuously, and all the Yunjiajin in the Chaos Palace came out. This is originally a remote place in the upper world. No one will find it on weekdays. After the border is laid, as long as the strong practitioners step here within 10 miles, Cloud Dance will feel it for the first time. At the beginning, all the Yunjiajin were responsible for defense, while those injured were carefully treated with the help of military doctors, Yunwu and Mu Xiuming. Long Qingxie and others are powerful. They can heal themselves as early as the first day. After these 7 days, the injuries on the body have almost recovered. As for other people, they can have a small range of activities and inquire about the surrounding conditions to prevent the arrival of the Beast Gate. Those who haven't recovered from the injury put all their mind on healing, striving to recover the action ability of the whole team in the fastest time. But outside everything is very calm. 10,000 Beast Gate has not found here also has a hiding cave. That night, I saw that the wounded were almost recovered, and Yunwu finally had a rest time. In the cave, the stuffy dragon Qingxie simply pulls Yunwu to leave the cave secretly. Originally, he planned to find a place where there was no one to make out with. The Clinker Cloud Dance really didn't understand the customs, so she said with a smile that she wanted to go to the hillside to blow, so Long Qingxie had to give up the hidden valley and accompany her to the hillside. When the night wind blows, they walk all the way along the hillside. The clouds dance and the wind blows comfortably, as if they are going to blow away all the tiredness of the past few days. However, Long Qingxie follows her with a sad face. Little guy, don't you miss me since I haven't seen you for so long? Dragon Qing evil resentment said. Cloud Dance Aleng turned round to see Long Qing evil a pair of wronged appearance. All of a sudden, he burst out laughing. Before he had time to speak, he felt a shadow passing in front of him. Immediately after that, the dragon appeared in front of him, hugged him tightly, and kissed him without saying a word. Warm kiss will Cloud Dance want to say all blocked, as if to miss all the days in this warm kiss, regardless of her into his arms. Cloud Dance was kissing head dizzy, from the initial stupefied slowly into a shock, to later simply backhand hugged the dragon's head, forced to kiss back. On this hillside, the two people desperate to kiss together, a kiss, will be nearly formed before the death of parting all included. Yunwu didn't let go until she was so soft that she didn't even have the strength to respond. Then she was held tightly in her arms, as if she was afraid that she would disappear. Little guy, you know, that day I almost thought I would never see you again, but I didn't expect you to show up again. Long Qingxie said with a smile. At that time, he really thought that he was going to die, and did not feel afraid. At that time, he thought that he could not see Yunwu again and regretted it. Cloud Dance in the heart move, tightly embraced the dragon to poor evil, what didn't say. She was also worried to death that day. You have suffered a lot in the human world. Long Qingxie sighed. Cloud Dance shook his head. At this time, where does she still have a trace of the hegemony of the leader? There is no difference with those little women hiding in their lovers' arms. They are tired and happy for many days. No, in fact, Yunwu wanted to say that you were the one who suffered, but when she thought of her palpitations that day, she felt still flustered, like recalling the most terrible memories. In the end, she couldn't say anything, so she could only hold him tightly. Yunwu can't imagine what would happen if she listened to the words of the kings of the human world and celebrated in the human world instead of coming here immediately. Even Yunwu regretted it. Why didn't she recover the human world faster? They held each other for a long time, but without exception, they were thinking about each other. After a long time, they sat side by side on the hillside, and then they told each other a lot of things after separation. I don't know what happened to that mysterious man. Long Qingxie said with a frown. This matter is more important, so I didn't say it all when I was in the cave before, but now there are only two people here who finally said it. Mysterious man. Cloud Dance frowned and thought, suddenly like caught something, but not sure. What's the matter? Long Qingxie asked, do you know who that person is? Cloud Dance thought for a while, finally shook his head, said, I just guess, is it not sure yet? I doubt. Can it be Xiaomu? Xiaomu. Long Qingxie was surprised for a moment, and then said, before you left, you asked me to check Xiaomu's whereabouts. I've been checking, but I didn't find him. Several times our people said they saw him, but he soon threw him away again, so I don't think he should fall into the hands of the Beast Gate. And so long ago, I didn't hear that the Beast Gate found the energy stone, so it shouldn't be him. Yes. Cloud Dance nodded, this is the best, we don't have to worry about his safety. I just hope that he will never be caught by the Beast Gate, otherwise. The following words didn't come out, but the meaning was obvious. Don't worry, now the human world has been recovered, and our internship is slowly recovering. When the army of the human world comes, we will have the strength to fight against the Beast Gate. At that time, we will be able to completely destroy the Beast Gate, and we will no longer have to worry about the danger of our partners. Long Qingxie's words are loud, which makes people feel as if they can do all this soon. Yunwu nodded with a smile, it will be. They are silent again. The night wind blows, and Long Qingxie suddenly hugs Yunwu. His hands brush his waist from behind, and he puts them on his chest to hold her tightly. Then he buried his head in her clavicle, sniffed the fragrance of her body, and murmured, little guy, I miss you so much. In the dead of night, Yunwu suddenly broke free from his arms. Then he turned around in Long Qingxie's surprised eyes. His arm flexibly wrapped around Long Qingxi's neck, tugged hard, and raised his head to kiss him. Long Qingxie was startled by her sudden intimacy, and couldn't react for a moment. The soft, mild and sweet smell from his lips made him feel like a dream. Unconsciously, he reached out and stroked the softness of Yunwu's chest. Yunwu gave out a vague cry. This sound seemed to be a key, which instantly awakened Long Qingxie, and then Long Qingxie back with a tight arm. Ha ha ha, it's really exciting. Shenguansheng stood on the main hall, laughing very happily, although this time it was us who withdrew. This time the loss caused to Dragon Qingxie was enough for him to cry. I think it's good. Let's continue to do this. By the way, we'll use a fake order to see who is spreading the news. Xiaomu hid in the corner of the beast gate with cold eyes. Clenching his fists, he looks at the towering main hall in front of him and gnaws his teeth in secret. These people are really crafty and cunning. They actually find out my plan. They feel guilty for the dragon, but they are also very fond of Shenguansheng. But now, as an undercover, Xiaomu has no way to confront Shenguansheng and others. After all, he wants more information. He took a few deep breaths with his eyes closed, and let his murderous spirit gradually subside. His whole body trembled. He just covered up his whole breath. Then he walked out of the corner and returned to his team. Before long, the team will start again. The new order is to search the whereabouts of Long Qingxie and others from the valley where Long Qingxie was before. Xiaomu lowered his head to think for a moment, and wrote down the information in a hurry. In the dead of night, he escaped from the beast gate and ran quietly to the valley where Long Qingxie and others were hiding. But now Long Qingxie and others have left the valley. Xiaomu doesn't know where they are now. Long Qingxie and others sat in the cave, thinking. You all talk about how we can revive our strength now. Now it seems that we have no chance of winning against the beast gate. Shengguan sighed, looking at all the people who rarely gathered together in front of him. He said. Nangong Yi turned around and looked at Qi Yi's. Although Qi Yi's face was pale, it was obvious that it didn't matter. Then he said faintly, but now the mysterious man doesn't know where we are. And even if the last intelligence was caused by mistakes, I don't think I can trust this intelligence anymore. It should be a good thing that he can't find us. Shengguan sighed. Not necessarily. Situlan touched his chin and shook his head. I don't think this man is malicious to us. After all, he always comes to our camp alone, puts down his intelligence and turns around. Isn't he afraid that we will catch him and kill him? Obviously, he is familiar with us. Cloud danced away, silent for a moment, and I feel, he should be about to go out again. I think we should find someone to meet, let him smoothly hand over the intelligence to us. After all, now we hide in the place where no one can find. If we don't come out now, maybe we will miss an important intelligence. Everyone thought it was possible. Nangongyi said, it's not bad either. We can analyze the authenticity of the information this time. If the information is wrong, we can choose not to go. Report to boss. Suddenly someone rushed in and yelled to Yunwu and others eagerly, someone just handed me the envelope, and now he's gone. All of them immediately stood up from the ground and looked at the envelope in the man's hand. Cloud Dance raised a smile on the corner of his mouth and said, he is definitely from our side. You can rest assured that no one will insist on sending us information when we lose trust in him. He took the lead in taking the letter and opening it. Tomorrow, the gate of beasts will move. They will disperse from the valley where you were hiding to look for you. They are afraid that the situation will change, so they should pay attention to the sound of birds. If the sound of firebirds rings eagerly, they should stop and retreat immediately. Cloud Dance looked at the short information letter, could not help but raise the corner of his mouth, shook the letter in front of the people, and said, this man is very smart, and this kind of warcraft like Thunderbird can't be touched in this area, so it's quite a wise choice for him to use this kind of voice to warn. When people saw this, they immediately laughed. Looking around, no matter how fierce the war was before, when you see this intelligence again, it is still very exciting. After all, the intelligence of this mysterious man has led you through several great victories. With this in mind, Yunwu sat down, put the envelope in the middle of everyone, and said, "You pass it on to each other. Tomorrow, we will send out all the killer organizations and assassin troops. This time, we need to be flexible and cautious. Let them work harder." So Yunwu sat down and began to discuss the plan of letting these people lead his team to encircle the Beast Gate the next day. In the early morning of the next day, everyone got up early and dressed up. All the killers had already leaped out and hidden in the trees near the cave. Even if you look carefully, it's hard to find a killer lurking here. However, there was an air of killing in the neighborhood. Long Qingxie walks out of the cave, looks around, nods with satisfaction, and suddenly beckons. Then, under the leadership of Long Qingxie, some of the killers run quietly towards the valley. After all, it is said that before the sun rises, the people of the Beast Gate will enter the valley to search, so they must have the first chance. "Hey, we'll just wait under the tree." Shangguan lay under a tree and said in distress. "Then you can wait in the tree, too." Cloud Danceway couldn't help laughing. This let Shangguan more depressed. Hands holding cheek said he didn't like it anymore. Heat, wound, fatigue. Their wounds are more sad under the stimulation of sweat, but all of them are pursing their mouths, hard to cover the pain, but they can't resist the vigilance of dangerous environment. Just when everyone was very impatient, suddenly, not far away, there appeared a large group of black-robed people. They were walking slowly forward. "Here we are at last." Cloud Dance sneered, looked at the intelligence in his hand, and said, "Now we can rest assured of the accuracy of the intelligence." The black-robed man is looking at the ground, walking on the road in peace, carefully checking every place where he can hide. Yunwu and others can't help smiling, but just at this time, they suddenly heard the unique call of Thunderbird, which surprised everyone. It seems that this man really didn't intend to cheat us. Someone sighed. It seems that this time, Shangguansheng is going to take this mysterious man out of the team. The officer murmured. Yun narrowed her eyes and looked at the world outside the mountain. She suddenly felt a little familiar. She didn't know why, but suddenly thought of the back of the mysterious man and his actions. She felt that this person should be someone she knew. But after thinking about it, he suddenly came back to himself. Long Qingxie had already told the team behind him that they were ready to retreat. He quickly took back his thoughts and took everyone to bypass the original plan. "I don't think we should go like this," Qi Yi suddenly said, with a cold face, turned his head and looked at the place where he was going to encircle the Beast Gate, and said, "Can we fight them back?" Beside him, a brother said, "I think at first they scattered around to search for us. Now if the plan changes, the mysterious man should continue to send us information. Maybe we can find a place to hide. But this man should be one of the 10,000 beasts, so it's hard for him to get out of the team. We don't have too much expectation for intelligence." Nan Gongyi said. Everyone is silent, thinking about countermeasures. This place, a little slower, may change from active to passive. Time and place are the most important things for them. So we must seize the opportunity here at all costs. I heard that the base near Linghu Lake was taken back by the people of the Beast Gate, because the resources there are very precious. Shangguan said, touching his chin and murmuring, "What if we send a few people to faint at Linghu?" Nan Gongyi turned his head and looked at him, stunned. If the people of the Beast Gate knew about this, they would send people from the headquarters to help Linghu. Because of the importance of Linghu, at least half of these people should be sent. In this way, the people here can take the half of the Beast Gate at one stroke. If the people in the headquarters of the 10,000 Beast Gate are hard-hearted and don't plan to help the people in Linghu. The corner of Cloud Dance's mouth raises a faint smile. Then we'll take Linghu at one stroke and continue to take this place for ourselves. Long Qingxie's smile is full of evil spirit and cunning. He looks down at the clouds and his eyes are shining. Shangguan was very proud. Looking at Nan Gongyi and others around him, his eyes were full of smiles. My proposal is good. Otherwise, we'll make such a plan. If we start to attack near Linghu, we'll send a signal to us. We'll evacuate immediately and take the headquarters team away. If we draw troops to support Linghu, we'll send a signal to you, you retreat, we attack. So, everyone was very excited. It was really a good way. Everyone began to talk about it. Everyone nodded and agreed with the proposal. As a result, they made a simple deployment and allocated manpower. Then, some of them wandered around the original planned location, while the others had quietly headed for Linghu under the leadership of Long Qingxie and Qi Yi's. In this way, everything is ready, with the feces of Warcraft made into a simple signal smoke. We have two quietly set out. Yunwu and others are near the cave, pretending to evacuate, but they are not in a hurry. The speed of Long Qingxie and others is very fast. In a twinkling of an eye, they have come to the vicinity of Linghu, and they don't hesitate at all, they rush directly to Linghu. Just 100 miles away from Linghu, people from the Beast sect and the Linghu branch reported this. So the branch sent people to the headquarters to ask for support. But I didn't expect that Linghu was so important to the Beast Gate. Soon someone reported that almost half of the people who had seen the Beast Gate had sent their hands to support Linghu. Yunwu frowned, turned around and let the people behind him light up the smoke. Soon, the smoke was up into the sky, and the team of Wanwoman met the Yunwu team face to face in a small canyon. Wanwoman, whose ranks have been greatly reduced, looks very ugly when he sees Yunwu's army. However, Yunwu doesn't hesitate and gives an order. Without saying a word, he fights over. The middle area of the canyon is relatively wide and easy to play, but the two ends of the canyon are small paths. The people in the cloud quickly occupied the exits on both sides and blocked the people in the middle. After a fierce battle, almost half of the people in the Beast Gate had fallen to the ground and howled over the valley. In my opinion, the people sent by Linghu must be so sorry that their intestines are blue. Shangguan laughs, shakes his sword, turns to Yunwu, but Yunwu's face is not good-looking. Obviously, she is worried about them. Yunwu, don't worry. Long Qingxie has always been very cunning. Those people from the Beast Gate can't catch him at all. What's more, he is carrying killers. These people are very powerful. Meng Bai patted Yunwu on the shoulder and said with a smile. Yunwu nodded and didn't speak, but his eyes relaxed a lot, so he quietly waited for the return of Long Qingxie and others near the canyon. At night, when Yunwu was planning to attack Linghu, Long Qingxie came back from Linghu with his men. Although they were tired, no one seemed to be hurt, which made Yunwu's heart finally let go. Come on, let's go back to the cave. Cloud Dance said, so the army night, and rushed back to the temporary rest of the cave. On this day, Yunwu and others are gathering in the cave. Although they have just won a battle, they are very clear about their strength, so they did not directly start their own attack, and silently waiting for the arrival of reinforcements. Finally, the people sent by Yunwu to the transmission array got a reply. Report to the chief. There's movement near the teleport. A member of the Killer Corps rushed in with a look of excitement. Since receiving the order, he has been lurking near the transmission array. Now it is the territory of the Beast Gate, so he does not dare to get close, so he can only watch from a distance. There was a big stir today in the place where there had been no movement for a long time. He quickly took advantage of the chaos to get closer, and found something exciting. What's going on in the teleport? Before Yunwu could say anything, Shangguan was the first to rush out and excitedly said, "What's going on? What's going on? Is our reinforcements here? How many people have arrived? Is it powerful? What strength are they? Have you found out?" After a series of questions, the reporter was so dazed that he didn't know which one to answer. Shangguan couldn't wait, so he went to him and grabbed him by the shoulder. He urged him eagerly, "Speak quickly, speak quickly." Shangguan. They all looked at the appearance of Shangguan and shook their heads helplessly. Shangguan, listen to him. Cloud Dance helplessly ordered. A superior this just curled to curl a mouth, no longer continue to ask, although the strength on the hand is a little smaller, but still grasped that person's shoulder. Chief, there has been a fight near the teleportation array. I approached and inquired. I saw many people coming out of the teleportation array, thousands of them. And it seems more than we have now. Thousands of people. As soon as the words fell, everyone was shocked. What's the concept? Although there are many people in the whole human world who practice fighting spirit, only a few of them can really cultivate a certain realm. It's impossible for ordinary people to join in the battle. The whole Cloud family army is no more than 1,000 people, and the Killer Corps is no more than 2,000 people. With scattered forces, these newcomers have directly doubled their strength. What are their strengths? Cloud Dance immediately asks away. It seems that they are not weak. Basically, they are all below Wuzong, but they are not too low. Their strength is uneven. It should be that all countries in the human world participate in it. Yunwu nodded. Even so, it was a great help. Ah! By the way. As soon as they appeared, they beat the beast men near the teleportation array. They didn't have the strength to fight back, so I think their strength should not be weak. I contacted some of their leaders. They said that there were many people coming this time, but they didn't know how much. But they brought a batch of weapons and armor to the killer's regiment. They said that they could give it to them only after they met the leader. Armor? Do you want armor for the killers? Cloud Dance doubts of ask away. Go and see, Chief. The crowd nodded, so the Cloud Dance gave a crisp order, go to the transmission array immediately. To be on the safe side, the army entered the Palace of Chaos again. Only a part of the agile people were left to explore the way around and inquire about the situation. When they were near the teleport array, they suddenly found that it was almost a different place at this time. Originally, it was like a barren mountain. I don't know when it turned into a small base. At first glance, it was built by Wanwoman, but at this time, all the signs of Wanwoman in the base have been erased and replaced with the signs of Yunjiajin. Many places are being changed, and the crowd is very busy inside. Yunwu has no doubt that if this is not a war, I'm afraid the soldiers in this group will paint the base all over again. The image of Cloud Dance is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, because it was recognized just after standing at the gate for a while without having time to look at it carefully. Then someone reported it, and then the gate of the base was opened and a team of energetic people came out from it. Chief. Like Yunjiajun, these people call out directly when they see Yunwu. Yunwu looks at them one by one and finds that they are all people who have an important position in their own country. At this time, they are willing to call her leader. Yunwu was not polite to them either. After entering the base, he released the people in the Chaos Hall, and then followed these people into the hall. How many of you have come this time? Cloud Dance asks away directly. 15,000. One below replied. Shangguan just drank a mouthful of water, poo, directly spurted out. Although other people didn't have such a gaffe, they couldn't control the shocked expression on their faces. Every country in the human world has made its own contribution. This time, it's the top military. Otherwise, it can't be compared with the Cloud Army, but it can't be underestimated. Now the human world is still recovering, and there will be more troops coming in the future until the Gate of Beasts is destroyed. Not only that, we have also concentrated the human resources to build 1,000 sets of armor suitable for killers. It's light and close to the body, but it's very defensive. I hope we can kill the Beast Gate as soon as possible. Everyone at the bottom of the mouth brings a shocking news. Until all finished, Yunwu's several people feel a little dizzy. A few days ago, I thought I was going to lose my life, but in a twinkling of an eye, I had such a great help. How can we not like it? Chief, now we are fully prepared and have the strength to fight against the Beast Gate. But now we are in the sight of the Beast Gate. I'm afraid they will send people to attack soon. Gao Yu is worthy of being a general for a long time and took the lead in raising questions. Shangguanshong is the most difficult one among all the beasts. If I guess correctly, I'm afraid Shangguanshong will come in person. Cloud Dance frowned and said. So what? Don't forget, we can't fight head-on, we still have a ray. The dragon leans lazily on the back of the chair and says evil. Yunwu's eyes brightened, and then he showed a bad smile. Good. Pass on my order to lay a net around the base and besiege Shangguanshong. Catch Shangguanshong. All of them were surprised and almost exclaimed how powerful Shenggunsong was. The power of Shenggunsong made everyone afraid. Catching Shenggunsong made people feel terrible. Looking around at Long Qingxie and others, it seemed that there was no worry at all. I'm going to set up a Dharma array to trap Shenggunsong and protect those of us who are already in the base. The dragon went out without waiting for everyone to speak. At the gate, Long Qingxie closed his eyes and quietly set up the Dharma array. This array is very big. Unless Shenggunsong doesn't come in through the main gate, he will be trapped. Of course, countless people are ambushed around the base. So many people are here to guard Shenggunsong. If only one person can't catch him. In a short time, the FA formation had been established by Long Qingxie, so the rest of the people were in ambush in the base. Fortunately, the base was not small, so many of the men such as Long Qingxie were installed. As we all expected, soon, Shenggunsong arrived at the base with the people of Wanwoman. Long Qingxie and others are in the base, and they can see clearly, but Shenggunsong is very careful. He has learned the cunning of Long Qingxie and others for a long time, so he is standing not far away, not close at all. This makes Long Qingxie frown. Think about it, come out from the inside and go directly to the gate of the base. As soon as Shenggunsong saw the dragon's evil, a murderous air suddenly came out of his body, which made people around him step back. This time, Shenggunsong was really mad. He almost lost his mind when he saw Long Qingxie. He didn't care whether there were traps or not. Without saying a word, he rushed to catch Long Qingxie. The speed was so fast that Long Qingxie's eyes had been stabbed into his chest by his nails in the blink of an eye. Fortunately, he responded in time and quickly took a step back, which didn't pierce his heart. Covering the wound, his face turned pale. Long Qingxie looked at Shenggunsong in front of him, and he couldn't help smiling. At this time, Shenggunsong had come to his senses, and his face turned pale, because he found that there was an invisible barrier around him. He was so angry that he wanted to kill people. He suddenly rose up and wanted to continue to fight against the dragon. However, he was suddenly knocked down by a force and took a cold breath. Shenggunsong finally realized that this might be the trap set by Long Qingxie. Looking up at Long Qingxie was sneering, and his smile was full of pride. Then, the people standing in the base also came out. The other men of the Beast Gate saw that Shenggunsong was caught so quickly, and saw that so many people came out of the base. Suddenly, the morale of the army broke up and fled with a scream. In front of the base, only Shenggunsong was left. He stood in the Dharma array, looking at the dragon and other humanity coldly. I really underestimated you. He gathered black fighting spirit in his hand and suddenly attacked in one part of the array. But Long Qingxie just stood there with his hands behind his back, looking at the action of Shenggunsong. Sure enough, when Shenggunsong suddenly patted his fighting spirit to one place, he suddenly bounced all his strength back. Shenggunsong was caught off guard and directly knocked himself down on the ground, spitting blood at his mouth. You don't have to struggle anymore. This array has the power of rebounding. The more you exert, the more you rebound. So, it's just you who fight in the end. Long Qingxie said, I'm not as good as you, so it took me a lot of effort to catch you, so you can stay in it. With a cold hum, Shenggunsong was very clear. He was silent for a moment. He suddenly sat down and closed his eyes. There was no more movement. Everyone breathed. I didn't expect to let Shenggunsong fall into the array so easily. Shengguan laughed and said excitedly. Who told him that Shenggunsong had been mad with anger? Yunwu sneered, then said seriously, Now, I'm afraid the army of the Beast Gate is looking for us. Let's divide our troops into two ways. One is to go to the headquarters to attract their attention, the other is to go to Linghu and attack Linghu at one stroke. Everyone is very happy, and finally want to take back the Linghu Lake. It's a treasure land for cultivation. So the soldiers divided into two groups and used the plan they had used before. Long Qingxie ambushed in Linghu, while Yunwu pretended to attack the headquarters of Wanwoman without Shenggunsong. Ling Hu must send people to support the headquarters, and then take down Ling Hu when there was no manpower nearby. So Long Qingxie and others hid around the Ling Hu Lake and occasionally attacked the people of the 10,000 Beast Gate. This way of running and fighting made people around them scold them for being too insidious. But Long Qingxie and others enjoy it. With a cold Qi night, it makes Long Qingxie feel helpless. However, he suddenly thinks that he will kiss Cloud Dance that day, and he can't help coughing twice to show that his head is very pure now. Sure enough, after a while, the people in the Ling Hu Lake suddenly got into chaos, and then quickly left in the direction of the headquarters. In the twinkling of an eye, there are only a few guards left in the whole Ling Hu Lake. Everyone can't help laughing, but not long after all the people left, Yunwu's army had returned to Ling Hu. Near Ling Hu, they met with Long Qingxie and others. Today's battle, I think the people of the Beast Gate must be angry to eat us, ha ha ha. The people under his command were very excited, laughing and talking, and the corners of Cloud's mouth were also smiling, saying, I think this team of people in the Beast Gate will be exhausted by the journey back and forth. Let's go. I don't think so many people are needed here. Shangguan said, I don't know where I took a piece of grass from and put it in my mouth. I put my hands behind my head and walked forward leisurely. This time, there was almost no concealment, and we all attacked in the direction of Ling Hu. The guards in front of the Ling Hu base almost looked silly. No, I just found out that they were not enough. I just heard that there had been an attack there. In a twinkling of an eye, this army had gathered in front of the Ling Hu base. Looking at it like this, the people of the Beast Gate almost ran to the base and cried out that it was not good. But what's the use of that? Yunwu and others didn't give them a chance at all. Almost in an instant, they broke through the gate of the base and rushed straight into the main hall. In the main hall, they were slaughtered. Before they had time to escape, they all fell to the ground and lost their breath. The rest of the 10,000 beast men, seeing that it was not good, ran away from other doors in a hurry. The base of Ling Hu, without any effort, had returned to the hands of Long Qingxie and others. What did I say? One day, it will be ours. Mu Xiuming is proud. Long Qingxie turned to the people behind him and said, we can practice near the Ling Hu Lake for some time now. The spiritual power in the Ling Hu Lake is very abundant. We can practice here very fast. Long Qingxie turned to find out Chong Guangji, who had not been seen in the team for a long time, and said, now, this place is still handed over to you. Next, we need to expand your power as soon as possible. I'm afraid we will start to attack the Beast Gate soon. Chong Guangji is very excited. Although he has been doing what ordinary people need to do in their team these days, he feels much fuller than his domineering boss in a small town. After several battles, Chong Guangji has been completely convinced by Long Qingxie and others. He nodded in a hurry and thought, let's go to Ling Hu with my injured brothers to practice and heal. The rest of us can heal ourselves and adjust our breath so as to make a breakthrough as soon as possible. See Long Qingxie nodded, Chong Guangji hurried to the following people to the edge of the lake. Finally quiet down, all people seized the time to improve themselves. It wasn't long before thunder clouds rolled in the sky. I don't know which brother has successfully broken through. Everyone exclaimed at the magic of this place, and they all concentrated on it and practiced it meticulously. Ling Hu is very important to everyone. Although Long Qingxie only sent Chong Guangji and others to guard here, it doesn't mean that he can rest assured of the safety here. From the beginning of that day, Long Qingxie began to lay out his array around Ling Hu to prevent the troops from attacking at any time. It's finally done. Long Qingxie stands up and looks at his masterpiece with satisfaction. His face is quite proud. This time, the array is different. The defense is not strong and it can't trap the experts, but its main function is to confuse and trap thousands of troops. Therefore, it is most suitable for marching and fighting. Now Shengguancong is trapped. This array can't be better. After a simple explanation, the public understood it and could not help but get a burst of praise. It's rare that Shengguancong is trapped now. Can we take the opportunity to do something? Meng Bai said with a bad smile. Oh. Cloud Dance pick eyebrow, ask away, what do you want to do? Hey, hey. Meng Bai said with a smile, if Shangguanzhong is not here, we have enough experts to deal with other experts in the beast sect, so we should expand our power now. Even if he comes out at that time, we must have robbed a lot of territory. But now that Linghu has just been taken back, we have just recovered from serious injuries. I think this time is more suitable for healing and improving our state. If Shangguanzhong is trapped, we can also practice at ease. Nangong Yi said with a frown, and glanced at Qi Yi's. It seemed that she was worried about her injury. After all, she was injured a lot in previous battles. The worry in Nangong's eyes is too obvious to ignore. Yunwu thinks that what they say is reasonable, but he doesn't reply directly. Instead, he suddenly turns his head and looks at the dragon nearby. You seem to be breaking through. The crowd was obviously stunned. They saw that Long Qingxia laughed casually and said, there have been too many battles recently. As soon as there are more actual battles, the strength will be gradually raised. This is a direct default of Cloud Dance. Wuling Realm. It's a breakthrough in such a short time. This is no less than a demon dancing in the clouds. Cloud Dance nodded thoughtfully and said, it's necessary to attack the Beast Gate and expand our power, but we can't ignore our strength because of fighting, otherwise it will be more and more difficult. Now Shangguanzhong is trapped, which is a good opportunity. Everyone listened carefully, knowing that what Cloud Dance was going to say next was the most important thing. Give me orders. From today on, everyone takes turns to practice and fight. The more they are about to break through, the more opportunities they have to be given to get close to Linghu. They must improve their strength as soon as possible. Once they break through, they will go into the battlefield to consolidate their strength. General Gao. Cloud Dance raised a voice, you are the best at fighting here, so how about you and I take turns to lead the team? Gao Yu nodded and said, no problem. Soon, the decision has been made. All the soldiers decide the shift time with the fastest speed. Some of the soldiers who are about to break through sign up to go to Linghu. Cloud Dance is not stingy. When they are sure that they really want to break through, no matter what their race, strength and position are, they all reserve a place for them near Linghu. The time of one day has been arranged, and Shangguanzhong is still trapped in the array, struggling to release the array the next day. Yunwu took the first group of soldiers to the nearest base according to the established plan, while Gao Yu went to Linghu during the rest time. Long Qingxia, Shangguan and Mu Xiuming all showed signs of breakthrough, so their quota was not included in this operation. Other titles above general were divided into 3 groups, one for cultivation, one for army attack, and one for guarding the base with the rest of the troops. Everything is going on in an orderly way. When Yunwu starts, he goes to Shangguanzhong to tell him. Seeing that Shangguanzhong is no longer calm because of his anger, Yunwu just turns around and leaves with a sneer. In his fury, Shangguanzhong couldn't study how to get rid of the array, so he had to worry about it. The plan of Shangjia's attack on the Beast Gate has officially started. Yunwu drives straight in with the army, holding the map sent by the mysterious man and the strength distribution map of the Beast Gate. Yunwu has already made the target clear. Because of its remote location, there is only one small base within 100 li radius, which can be easily won. In another base 200 li away, there are other generals to attack. Yunwu knows that he can't be trapped in Shangguanzhong for long, and maybe only this time can he be trapped, so he has to occupy the base he is sure of, so there is almost no suspense about this battle. And near the Linghu Lake, several people of Dragon Qingxia are sitting on the edge of the Linghu Lake, practicing conscientiously. One day, 2 days everything went so smoothly, even later the rhythm became faster and faster, because we all know that Shangguanzhong is about to come out. The coming out of Shangguanzhong has not come yet. The first thing that appears is the movement of Linghu. In recent days, more and more people break through the Linghu Lake. One by one, the strong in the Wuzong realm enter the Wudi realm after being robbed by thunder, and one by one, the Wuzuan enters the Wuzong realm. There are still some realms that remain unchanged. However, people who go from the middle stage to the later stage and from the later stage to the peak have a strong energy fluctuation every day near Linghu, but today is the most powerful one. Dragon's evil will break through. Shengguan looks at Long Qingxie's figure with a happy face and says that there are two people standing beside him, Mu Xiuming and Qi Yi's. After a few days of cultivation, Shengguan and Mu Xiuming have successfully entered the realm of Emperor Wu. What's more surprising is that Qi Yi's has made a breakthrough unconsciously, and no one even found out before that. People were surprised to know that thunder had come. It seems so, but I don't know what he can break through. It seems that the movement is not small. Mu Xiuming said thoughtfully, after all, for the evil of the dragon, people have seen nothing strange. Just like when Cloud Dance broke through, there was a strong fluctuation of breath around Dragon Qingxie. Later, even the naked eye could see the energy, so people opened their eyes and waited. I saw that the breath became more and more powerful, and even later, everyone around Linghu felt that different forces were brewing, until it reached a peak, like a balloon about to burst, exploding in an instant. Wuling's later period's prestige is released instantly. Dragon Qing Evil suddenly opened his eyes over the place, all people feel pressure. Base. Shengguancong, sitting quietly in the array, quietly closed his eyes. He didn't know what he was thinking, but he was extremely calm, and his black air was more intense, which made the guards around him frown and worry. I said, "Do we need to report to Dragon Boss?" One of the guards asked, "I don't think his situation is very good. It feels like he is accumulating some strength." The other one was silent for a long time. He turned around and discussed with the other two people who had changed shifts. Then, the two people had already run to the vicinity of Linghu. But on Shengguancong, that kind of indistinct prestige has already sent out. The two guards immediately felt very uncomfortable. They looked at each other, and their faces were very ugly. However, in this situation, they had no choice but to guard like this. But not long after, the black air on Shengguancong's body had gradually covered him. Even Shengguancong's face could not be seen clearly, which made the two guards pale. Looking up at the direction of Linghu, it was really strange that there was no movement there. The pressure on Shengguancong is getting heavier and heavier. The guards in the base have come out of the base nervously, surrounded Shengguancong and held the weapons in their hands carefully. But Shengguancong didn't have time to pay attention to them. He just sat quietly with his knees crossed. But the breath of the whole person is completely different. This kind of feeling makes everyone feel fear. Looking at the group of people around us, we all find that without the support of Long Qingxie and others, I'm afraid Shengguancong can kill all the people here with one hand. The black air that belongs to Shengguancong in the Dharma array is very terrible. The black air is surrounded in the Dharma array, and gradually forms a circle in the Dharma array, which encircles Shengguancong. Then, everyone feels a very powerful energy wave around the Dharma array. Everyone frowned. And on the side of Linghu, Long Qingxie and others are holding a meeting at this time. Suddenly they hear someone outside shouting, "Boss! Boss!" The people on the other side of the base are coming. Smelling speech, Long Qingxie stopped talking, raised his head, looked at the eager men who came in, and asked, "What's the matter? Speak slowly." The people on the other side of the base said that Shengguancong was in the Dharma circle. They were afraid that Shengguancong was carrying out some terrible plan, but it was time for them to stop him. Long Qingxie frowned, put down his map, walked out of the room, stood in the nearby open space, and looked at the direction of the base. Over there seems to be no change now. Because there is no sign that the array set up there will break. Moreover, this array can rebound people's power. After a long time, Shengguancong will not be stupid enough to hurt himself. I don't think Shengguancong will break my array in a few days. Long Qingxie's eyebrows locked and murmured to himself. Yunwu stood beside him, but he was very calm and said, "Let's go and have a look first." Long Qingxie stood on one side, did not speak, just quietly looking at the other side. But all of a sudden, I heard a roar from the direction of Linghu, and then there were thick smoke everywhere. Cloud Dance's eyes suddenly opened big, looking at that side, clenched his fist, and standing beside her Long Qingxie, but suddenly the whole body trembled violently. Then, a stream of blood flows down the corner of the mouth and forcibly destroys the array, which will hurt the person who established the array. Yunwu quickly reached out to help Long Qingxi, but Long Qingxi shook his head, took Yunwu's hand and said, "Let's go. We can't let Shangguanzheng run away." So they ran towards the base like lightning almost instantly. Shangguan looked at the direction of their departure, frowned and ran back to call Situ Lan and others. They also ran to the base with Long Qingxie's steps. It wasn't long before Long Qingxie and Yunwu arrived at the base first. However, as soon as they saw it in the past, Shangguanzheng had forcibly broken the array, and there was a bloody guard lying on the ground. At this time, there was no breath. Long Qingxie sighed, frowned, closed his eyes and murmured, "I'm sorry I'm late." Yunwu didn't have time to relax. She looked down at the footprints on the ground and the room of the base. Her eyes lit up and she whispered, "Shangguanzheng hasn't gone." After hearing this, Long Qingxie took the épée in his hand and walked to the base without saying a word. The gate of the base was open. As soon as I entered, I saw countless corpses lying on the ground. The blood was winding like a stream. They stepped over the corpse on the ground and continued to walk in. They both saw that in this place, there were only footprints of his entering, but no footprints of his coming out. This made them nervous and walked in step by step. All of a sudden, I heard the sound of knowing the rope behind me. Long Qingxie and Yunwu were nervous to the extreme now. At this time, they immediately turned back and prepared to fight, but suddenly found that they were the Shangguan behind them. Suddenly relieved, Long Qingxie made a silent gesture, then turned his head and continued to walk inside. It's not a big place. The footprints of blood finally stopped in front of the door of a room. Long Qingxie looked at the Shangguan and others who followed him, waved quickly, and then stood in front of the door. I don't know what Shangguanzheng did. Long Qingxie turns to see Yunwu. Yunwu also looks at Long Qingxie and looks at the people behind him. Seeing that everyone is staring at the closed gate, he suddenly laughs and raises his guwu sword and cuts it on the gate. All of a sudden, that closed door has just become half, flying out. Cloud danced two people almost at the same time into the room, Shangguan and others followed. However, they didn't see the figure of Shangguanzheng. Everyone was stunned. This room has no windows and no other passage. If so, where is Shangguanzheng? Just thinking about it, suddenly, a shadow on the top of his head suddenly fell on the ground. Long Qingxie and others didn't know who it was, so they stabbed it with their sword. The figure of Shangguanzheng was very agile in the dark. He dodged left and right, and the swords of these people around him didn't touch his body. However, these people all suffered a lot. Qi Yi's was slapped on his stomach by him. He staggered back several steps and quickly stabbed them with his sword. However, he stabbed them in the air. When he heard the hum of several people around him, it was obvious that these people had been injured to varying degrees. Then, you see that figure from the door you just came, leaping out. No. Stop him quickly. Otherwise he might be running. If he leaves, we will suffer again. Shangguan's face was very ugly, and he planned to rush out immediately. But he stopped him with his hands behind him. He turned his head and looked at it. It was Long Qingxie's hand. Is stupefied between gods, Long Qingxie walks to his side. Wait, don't worry. He tilted his mouth slightly and patted Shangguan on the shoulder with a confident look. I had expected him to escape when I trapped him before. All of them set up a lot of attack arrays in front of the door, but what I didn't expect was that he didn't choose to escape outside this time. Instead, he was in the room. That's why he hurt so many of our brothers. But this time, he was absolutely dead. It's impossible to get out of this place so quickly. Hearing this, Shangguan couldn't help laughing. It's really Long Qingxie. If you don't do it, I still think it's not you. Before they finished speaking, there was a roar from outside. Then, a ray of light came into the room. Everyone narrowed their eyes. The light was really dazzling. The hum of Shengwenzhong's pain came from the outside, which made everyone excited. When Long Qingxie heard it, he burst out laughing, waved and said, "Come out with me. I'm afraid a Phelan can't control him. We have to go and kill him." After they ran out of the base in a hurry, they saw Shengwenzhong covering his chest and gasping violently. He stood in the center of a Dharma array and glared at Long Qingxie and others. The anger in his eyes made Long Qingxie want to laugh. He came forward and said, "I know you're very powerful, so how can I let you escape easily, so I've made enough preparations. You can rest assured, you son of a bitch, even if you can't escape this time, you can at least peel off the skin." Shengwenzhong is already angry about breaking the dragon into pieces, but now he is in the Dharma array. If he attacks rashly, he will hurt himself. Shengwenzhong knows very well. He stood there quietly, looking at the dragon with indifference, and said, "He thinks that people are right, but he does this kind of sneak attack and conspiracy. As the saying goes, we have to deal with any person in any way." Yunwu smiles a little, and the smile is very good-looking. Long Qingxie didn't turn his head, but he reached out and touched Yunwu's head, and the smile at the corner of his mouth became more and more evil. Shengwenzhong began to destroy this array tentatively, but this array was more aggressive than the one he had been trapped in before. He stood in the middle and wrapped his black fighting spirit around his body. Shengwenzhong lowered his head, his clothes were windless and his black hair was flying. It seems that this guy wants to enlarge his moves. Situ Lan frowned and murmured. He turned to Nangong Yi and others, but suddenly heard the evil way of Long Qing. "I think we need to go out. I don't think my own Dharma array will last long." Everyone nodded, held their weapons tightly in their hands, surrounded Shengwenzhong, and watched him warily. Shengwenzhong is still in the array. There are 6 offensive arrays of different degrees in front of the whole base. In order to prevent Shengwenzhong from escaping, he made great efforts. But even so, he still can't stop Shengwenzhong from leaving, but it's very good for defeating one woman to destroy his prestige as much as possible. But Shengwenzhong seemed to be at ease. He easily broke the first array and then entered the second one. Shengwenzhong, who had destroyed the first array, has already opened his mouth. However, he was suddenly attacked by the second array. A powerful force hit him on the chest and made him spit blood. However, his body touched the edge of the array again. All of a sudden, a fierce attack made Shengwenzhong not only snort, but also fall to the ground with soft legs. The blood in his mouth fell down and was in a mess. However, it's not easy for Long Qingxie, because this Dharma array has a great loss to him. They are now under the fierce attack of Shengwenzhong, which makes Long Qingxie feel a little overwhelmed. He frowns, clenches his épée, flies away and rushes into the array. Épée pulled a deep ravine on the ground, the land inch by inch broken, and then immediately, he yelled and rushed forward. At this time, Shengwenzhong finally stood up, but as soon as he stood up, he saw that Dragon Qingxie had come to his side. He was immediately slapped and fell on the edge of the array, and his blood gushed out. "Don't worry, I'm not a good man, so you don't have to talk about a fair duel." The dragon tilted his heresy and looked at the cloud dance behind him and said, "We can't let him go today. If we let him go, I'm afraid our plans will be disrupted." But after all, Shengwenzhong is the best among the experts. Although this kind of thing can strike him, it can't kill him. If the above Guanzhong's temper makes him run away this time, then in the future, he may launch a crazy revenge. Everyone rushed into the Dharma array together. Because it was the Dharma array of Long Qingxie, it didn't kill his own people. Everyone showed their weapons and almost surrounded Shengwenzhong in the middle. In the dazzling battle, everyone in the array attacked Shengwenzhong. When dealing with these people's Shengwenzhong, his eyes turned from indifference to surprise. "I didn't expect that in a few days, these people had made progress so fast, and Long Qingxie had improved a lot, and had reached the peak of Wuling. In the hand not from of aggravating strength, but in the heart is kill idea big rise, in the eyes already red, this group of people, also can't stay." However, although everyone was injured to varying degrees, because of years of tacit cooperation, in this fight, although they also suffered a lot of injuries, Shenguancong didn't take advantage of them. But at this time, suddenly heard a burst of noise outside. Everyone in the fight looked out one after another, and saw a man running and shouting, "Boss! No! Shang Guanli is coming with someone." Suddenly, the eyebrows of Long Qingxie and others wrinkled tightly, but the corners of Shengguancong's mouth stirred up a faint smile. While thinking about how to deal with Shang Guanli and Shengguancong, Shang Guanli rushed into the base with a big wave of black-robed people. As soon as he came in, he saw Shengguancong trapped in the array, with blood hanging on the corner of his mouth. He was obviously injured and even more angry, but he did not dare to move forward because Shengguancong was trapped. Cloud Dance see Shang Guanli, immediately sneer, "Wei, I should be who, originally is this lost dog?" Shang Guan frowned, his face changed, and he was very fierce. But in Yunwu's opinion, this man was not afraid at all. She turned her head and almost didn't look at Guanli. She turned her head and looked at Shengguancong and said, "You moved the rescue soldiers. So many of you are allowed to beat me, but I'm not allowed to move the rescue." Shengguancong said with a sneer, "I think you'd better let me go, otherwise I'm afraid you're going to be here today. I think you also want to conserve your energy and don't want to fight." Shengguancong thought that he could persuade these people, but he didn't expect that they didn't appreciate it at all. He just stood around the array and surrounded it, but he didn't let them. This made Shang Guanli anxious. It seems that these people are determined to put Shengguancong to death. Long Qingxie and other people sneer, looking at Shengguan's anxious appearance, but Shengguancong is standing in the Dharma array, but he doesn't seem worried at all. Everyone looked at this matter in their eyes. Shengguan felt a little strange. He turned his head and asked Meng Bai around him quietly, "Why do you think this Shengguan tomb is dying, or it's just like a light cloud?" Meng Bai snorted coldly and glared at Shengguancong and said, "He probably still has strength. We people can't control him at all. Now he's so calm because he's thinking about when it's best to leave." Shengguan secretly gritted his teeth and sighed. But all of a sudden, I heard an eagle call. Suddenly, a black hawk fell on Shengguan's arm. Shengguan picked up the eagle, took down the letter box from his feet, opened it, and his face turned pale. "No. A base is surrounded." Suddenly, Shengguancong, who was trapped in the Dharma array, was very surprised. He turned around and glared at Shengguancong and said, "Are you sure this is true?" "It's true." Shengguan sighed, biting his teeth and said angrily, "These people are really not fuel-efficient lamps." He raised his head and looked at Long Qingxie fiercely. He was very angry and laughed back. There was a sudden scarlet in his eyes. He raised his hand, and almost at the moment of Long Qingxie's hand, he caught the cloud dance around him. Yunwu was caught by the collar, suddenly blushed and couldn't breathe. She tried to kick Shengguancong away, but she couldn't touch Shengguancong's body. Yunwu was caught by Shengguancong at this time, and his face turned red, while Long Qingxie stood opposite Shengguancong, raised his hand, his eyes turned red, and said in a cold voice, "Let her go." Shengguancong laughs and avoids easily. He looks at Yunwu fiercely, feeling that he wants to kill people. He turns his head and looks at a black-robed man. "How about the casualties?" Almost all." Seeing that Shengguancong didn't pay attention to Yunwu who was pinched by him, Long Qingxie suddenly raised his leg and kicked Shengguancong's arm with a whirring wind. In an instant, Shengguancong exclaimed and threw Yunwu out. Today's Shang Guanli is not their rival at all because of his strength retrogression after the previous heavy losses. Now he is only able to draw with Yunwu in his heyday, let alone so many people. When Shengguancong heard this sentence, he was obviously stunned for a long time. He looked at the man quietly. For a long time, he suddenly reached out and grabbed the man. Without saying a word, he twisted his neck. "You trash! Withdraw!" Shengguancong roared, but suddenly smashed the array with one palm, pulled Shengguancong up and flew towards the base. Long Qingxie holds cloud dance, lowers the head to frown to examine her wound. "Light Wei, are you okay?" Yunwu didn't speak, rubbed his neck, but with a smile on his face. Gao Yu is doing well. Do you think this mysterious man should be someone we know very well? Cloud Dance suddenly murmured, looking at the black-robed people line behind Shangguanzhong. I just saw that there was a familiar face in the hands of the beast gate over there. Long Qingxie frowned slightly and bowed his head to meditate. Cloud Dance Leng looking at the direction of Shangguanzhong disappear, eyes a little confused, seems to be thinking, suddenly, eyes a bright, I know. It's Xiao Mu. When they heard Xiao Mu's name, everyone's eyes focused on Yunwu. When they looked at Yunwu, their eyes lit up. Is it Xiao Mu? Is it really Xiao Mu? It can only be Xiao Mu, because he is the only one who has been captured by the Beast Gate and destroyed his memory. Now, I'm afraid he has recovered his memory, so he began to help us to be an undercover agent in the Beast Gate. It's really hard. Cloud Dance gently smiles, shakes his head and says, I didn't expect that. I'm still worried about his safety day and night, but he has sent us so much rare information. And the base on the other side was destroyed. Shangguanzhong and others have rushed to the base in a hurry at this time. They turn their heads and wait fiercely for Shangguanzhong to say, you waste, just die as soon as possible. Shangguanli also has a gloomy face, biting his teeth, but he can't say anything. His eyes are murderous. In silence, a group of people have rushed to the base, but suddenly they see that the base has become a ruin, with corpses everywhere. Even the buildings have been completely demolished, and all the houses have been burned clean, just like a dead city. Even the two masters died in the surrounding woods. Obviously, they were ambushed. Shangguanzhong was pale and approached step by step, but the more he walked, the more angry he was, and the more his whole body trembled violently. Looking at the devastated base, everyone was startled. Looking at Shangguanzhong, so many bases were destroyed. And it's all done by Long Qingxie. It's really upsetting. In addition to the fact that the power of the Beast Gate is getting weaker and weaker, the number of people like Long Qingxie is increasing. Now the situation is almost one-sided. The more I think about it, the more I feel uncomfortable and angry. Suddenly, Shangguanzhong's face turns red. Then a mouthful of blood spurted out. He covered his chest tightly and his hands were blue. He gritted his teeth and roared, Cloud Dance. The dragon pours evil. The roar reverberated in the whole mountain. Shangguanzhong's face turned pale instantly. He staggered a few steps and nearly fell down. The black-robed man behind him rushed forward to help him, but he was thrown away by Shangguanzhong. Get out. The man in black robe fell to the ground and knelt down. His face was in the shadow and he turned to look at Shangguanzhong. The man in black robe was Xiao Mu. Xiamuxio is very proud, turned into the queue, and everyone stood together, instantly hidden into it, no longer see what is wrong. On the base here, Gao Yu just came back. Although someone hung the lottery, he was still very successful. With all the scars and excitement, he came in and cried, Chief! We're back! As soon as Gao Yu's voice rang out, other people stood up to greet him. Okay, Gao Yu, you did a good job. I heard you beat them all down. Shangguan patted Gao Yu on the shoulder, then suddenly thought of something and said, Ah. No, since you won, didn't you send someone to guard the base? Why are you back? Gao Yu shook his head. His eyes swept over the crowd, and finally settled on Yunwu. He said, Chief, there's a reason for this, so I changed my plan temporarily. Oh. I just want to ask you, why did you go to attack other people's fortress? Cloud Dance pick to pick eyebrow, signal Gao Yu to say to listen to. I did go as planned today, but when I left in the morning, I had a conversation with Shangguanzhong. It seemed that he was brewing something very important, and when he left, he found what the assassins of Wanwoman were exploring. I think they may have come to meet Shangguanzhong, so they changed their target temporarily. Only when they attack the fortress will they go to support them. Gao Yu said seriously that he explained the cause and effect clearly, which had to be admired. And I think that fortress is so important that we can't occupy it for a long time now. So we simply let go of fighting and destroyed them directly. Then we retreated as fast as we could, and then we came back. Well done. Cloud Dance said with admiration, "You are working hard today. Let the soldiers go down first and have a good rest. Let's celebrate tonight." Yes, in Linghu base, because of Gao Yu's triumphant return, all of them fell into a carnival, and a bonfire party to reward the soldiers was in full swing. It's a bonfire party. In fact, it's just to let the soldiers relax for one night and serve all the delicious food, but they are not allowed to drink. Those who should be on guard are still on guard, but their defense is not lax. Yunwu and Long Qingxi walk side by side in the base, talking to the soldiers around from time to time. "Chief, what are you going to do next?" some soldiers asked Yunwu with a smile. "These days, there's no need to worry about Shangguancong. They've been fighting. All the heroes are furious. It's just a pity that Yunwu's tasks are to attack some small bases, and they don't dare to go deep into the center of Shangjie. After all, the Beast Gate is not only an expert of Shangguancong." Until finally, Gao Yu led the soldiers to fight a big base, and the soldiers were itching one by one. Now they finally put forward the idea of Yunwu. Cloud Dance laughed and said, "Don't worry, I will tell you where to fight. You just need to practice hard, improve your strength, and be optimistic about your territory. It's a matter of time before you attack their headquarters. You can't do it without your help." When the words came out, the officers and soldiers all laughed. They knew that those military secrets were only known by high-level officials, and naturally they would not ask any more questions. But then someone asked Yunwu to give some advice, and some people who were interested in the array approached Long Qingxi and earnestly asked for advice. "Why are you here?" Shangguan and Mu Xiuming came together. As soon as they saw them, they stuffed a large piece of roasted hot leg mutton into their hands. "It's baked by Qi Yi's. Try it." They said seriously, "We didn't expect that Qi Yi's craftsmanship was so good. This time, he was able to bake such delicious leg of lamb." Long Qingxie raised his eyebrows and said, "Is that right? I'll try it." Then he took a bite. At the entrance of the barbecue, Long Qingxie chewed and swallowed it. He turned to Yunwu and said, "It's really delicious." Yunwu just forgot to put a big mouthful in his mouth. As a result, he just put it in, and the whole person became stiff. Then he rushed to one side and coughed loudly, spitting out all the meat just put in his mouth. "Bah, bah, bah, what's the smell?" Cough. Yunwu walked back with a sad face and saw the three people's schadenfreude smile, while the piece that Long Qingxie had just eaten had already vomited to one side. It's rare to see the Cloud Dance in a mess. Everyone wanted to laugh and didn't dare to laugh. It was very hard. Only Shangguan laughed in spite of their image. Cloud Dance facial expression a black, new shouts away, "You idle have nothing to do. Since you have nothing to do, go and attack the Beast Gate for me tomorrow." Shangguan two people Aleng, tomorrow? A few days ago, we were able to speed up our progress because we trapped Shangguancong. Not only many people broke through, but also many sites were recaptured in succession. Except for the base Gao Yu attacked in the end, which was completely destroyed, all the other bases, large and small, have been transformed into the sites of the Yunjia army. Now there are transmission arrays everywhere for the convenience of coming. Linghu Base, as the headquarters of the Yunjia army stationed in the upper boundary, is in command. A few days ago, the attack was so fast that everything seemed to be fast forward. People didn't have time to breathe. Originally, everyone thought that they would have to rest for a few days after eating and drinking tonight. But it seems that the meaning of watching Cloud Dance is to continue to attack. So, Mu Xiuming frowned and said, "Little dance, isn't that good? The officers and men have been busy for such a long time. Let's have a rest." Cloud Dance corner of the mouth a hook, said, "You don't worry, that kind of blindly attack don't consider other factors is not my style, since I said so, nature is sure." After that, Yunwu turned around and ran to the meeting place. Shangguan looked at each other behind him and quickly followed him. At the same time, he did not forget to call other people to attend the meeting. In the assembly hall, Yunwoo ordered people to hang up a map of the whole upper boundary, which not only marked the branches of the beast sect, but also marked all their own forces. Then they ordered people to step down, leaving only a few high levels. Yunwoo stood in the front and began to lay out the next attack plan a little bit, even taking into account the time required for each base to fight down. Everyone listened carefully, and everyone's face was shining with the light of expectation and victory. The next day, the officers and men of Linghu base set out in different directions under the leadership of different generals. One day later, all the teams went to different bases. According to the size of the base, the number of personnel and strength level of the branches were also different. At this time, Yunwoo led one of the largest teams to guard in the most peripheral base. After a period of renovation, the base has completely become the layout required by Yunjia army. At this time, Yunwoo is sitting in it and looking at different maps in front of him. This is the third day since we arrived at the base. Report to the leader, the news is coming from all bases. All teams have been repaired. Stand by at any time. A person in charge of the notification came in and said respectfully to Yunwoo. The words were full of excitement. Good. Yunwoo put down the map in his hand, and his eyes were full of vitality. Have you all had enough rest? Back to the leader, the brothers have had enough rest for a long time. I wish I could start to attack the beast gate immediately. The announcer said brightly. Yunwoo also laughed and even said, okay, then give them a message for me. From tomorrow on, they can take action. What about us, Chief? The announcer asked. We? Cloud Dance pick eyebrow, direct command way, pass my command. Let the brothers eat and drink enough tonight. Tomorrow, the war begins. Yes, when all the generals received the news of Yunwoo, they were all ready to go. On the eve of the war, everyone carefully determined the formation of the second day, carefully studied the tactics and practiced them in their minds again and again. No matter which base they were in, all the generals could not sleep that night. In the early morning, when the first light of dawn lights up the earth, all the bases with Yunjiajin flag are ready to go. Yunwoo, like the soldiers, was dressed in armor. When he arrived at the arena, he saw that the orderly team had already been ready. At the front of the team were the orthodox troops of Yunjia army in gold armor, and at the back were the later troops from the human world and various forces. Now they have become temporary members of Yunjia army. On both sides of the team, there are a group of experts from Phoenix, Dragon and Fire Beast. In the middle of the team, there are some killers who seem to be the same as the soldiers but are actually quick. Yunwoo looked at the people below, with a strong sense of war in his eyes. No more talking, he turned his hand directly, and the black flame sword appeared in the palm of his hand. Yunwoo looked up at the sky and said, let's go. Attack the Beast Gate. A frontal duel with the Beast Gate, officially opened. The mighty army set out directly towards the nearest base. Their goal is to destroy every base of the Beast Gate and kill every villain of the Beast Gate. At the same time, under the leadership of the generals, every base of the Yunjia army has sent troops. The formation of each unit is the same as Yunwoo. This is a complete unit with independent combat capability, perfect composition, and its own commander. They don't hide and accumulate strength as they used to. They can separate and support each other. Under the leadership of each general, they have their own unique combat methods and ideas. Each of their teams has its own goal. They clearly know that this battle can only be won but not defeated. Kill the Beast Gate. The officers and men of the Cloud family army roared, and their hatred for the Beast Gate for many years was intended to break out completely at this moment. They rushed up directly. It's the Cloud army. Come on. Close the gate. Some people of the Beast Gate saw the flag of the army and the symbolic golden armor, and immediately gave an order. The huge city gates slowly closed, and the city protection array directly opened. However, all this fell into the eyes of the Yun family army like nothingness. Clouds flying high in the sky, a golden armor against the people more dazzling, right hand raised high, cold voice resounding above the sky. Attack the city. Array. The array obtained from Long Qingxie is just in use at this time. The golden array injects power. As soon as it is thrown forward, all the members of the Cloud family army step into the array and instill their own power into it. With the help of the array, all the forces are miraculously fused together, and then attack directly towards the gate. The seemingly solid defense became fragile in this moment. Bang, burst. Rush, the soldiers of the Cloud family army yelled, and rushed in before the beast men had time to react. The golden armor is in front of the road, and the steps of the Yun family army step into a city. The killer's strange figures shuttle among the enemy's troops. As the auxiliary of the soldiers, they select the injured people. Every time they take a knife, they can always take away their lives. Although the helpers from the human world and forces in all directions are not as good as the Yunjiajin, and they are not as strong as the Yunjiajin, they are well trained after such a long time of training and have long become an important part of the team. Their main motivation is their hatred for the Beast Gate. Phoenix, Dragon and Fire Beast are flying in the air. The mouth of the beast is open, and the flames gush out. However, they fall on every place in the city where there are 10,000 beasts. For a moment, the scream starts. Yunwu rushed directly to the front, summoned all his summoning beasts, and selected the strong people to do it. Go up and fight in groups directly, so as to increase the number of enemies killed, reduce the death toll of the team as far as possible, take a general view of the whole situation from time to time, and change the formation in time. No harm to civilians. Don't let go of a beast. The cold voice of Yunwu reverberates in every soldier's ear. They remember Yunwu's words, and deliver the civilians involved in the battle to the killers as soon as possible. After finishing the task, the killers didn't say a word, turned around and continued to fight. The battle is in full swing, not only in this place, but also in many places at the same time. Gao Yu rushed to the front with a long sword and cut off all the beasts under the sword happily. Long Qingxie's épée waved and the golden light flickered from time to time on the battlefield. Qi Yi's and Nangong Yi are together, one is in the rear to control the whole situation, and the other is in the side of the body to rise and fall the knife. Shengguan and Mu Xiuming are in the same base, and they are just like Yunwu, directly picking up the experts and counting themselves at the same time how many people have been killed, and how many people have been reported to each other from time to time, and continue to fight like a game. However, the base on the other side of the Beast Gate was in a panic, and constantly sent from each base to the headquarters for a tight report. Shengguan's is very angry, but this cloud dance attack is really unprepared. He hasn't recovered his injury, and he thinks that the other party will not dare to fight because he is in charge. But he didn't expect the other party to fight directly. Send troops at once. Help each base. Those people who are dancing in the clouds, kill them for me. Shengguan's roared in the main hall of the headquarters. On this day, the whole upper boundary launched the biggest battle in history, and the battle line almost across the upper boundary continued. The battle lasted for 5 months. I don't know if it was because Shengguan's used too much intrigue to sow dissension, or because the people of Wangwoman had long forgotten that marching and fighting would only bully Liangshan, and they were defeated in the frontal battlefield. The Cloud Dance team is constantly advancing, winning more and losing less, plus the intelligence from the headquarters from time to time, so that everything is in constant progress. 5 months later, Yunwu has occupied most of the territory of the upper boundary, and the force chamber of Wanwoman has resisted. Shengguan's and others guarding in the headquarters are now looking gloomy. The huge martial arts arena gathered the whole headquarters. Shengguan's sat in the upper position, looking at the people standing below, frowning. Now I'm quite sure that there must be spies in our headquarters. Shengguan's narrowed his eyes, looked at the people standing below and looked around. All of them could not help but lower their heads, as if they were afraid of Shengguan's eyes. Now, if you come out and admit that you are a spy, maybe I can make your death look better, and maybe I will bury you in a beautiful place, don't you think? Shengguan's lowered his head and played with his index finger. His tone was lazy, but he let his subordinates shiver. The people under his command did not speak any more, but just lowered their heads. Xiao Mu, who was standing in the line, also lowered his head with the crowd. When Shengguan's saw that all the people did not answer, his brows were wrinkled. The main hall of the headquarters was in a state of stillness, which made everyone feel out of breath. But everyone didn't speak, but all looked down at the ground. At this time, if anyone and Shangguanzheng looked at each other, I'm afraid it would be him. Everyone bowed their heads, and no one spoke. When Shangguanzheng saw that everyone didn't speak, he was furious. He suddenly jumped down from the main position and came to the crowd. He reached out and grabbed one of the people around him, pulled up to him, looked into his eyes and said, "Tell me. Are you a spy?" The man was so scared that he trembled all over. There was no strength to reply. He just trembled and opened his mouth to say something. But before he could speak, Shangguanzheng first squeezed his neck and broke his breath. The body was thrown on the ground, and the atmosphere became heavier. Some people's eyes were full of fear, while others were full of hatred. Xiaomu stood quietly in the middle of the crowd, but a smile rose from the corner of his mouth. "Is that you?" Shangguanzheng grabbed another man and pulled him to the front, but before he could ask, the man was already foaming and soft in Shangguanzheng's hand. Shangguanzheng sneered and threw the man in black on the ground. Finally, someone didn't want to. A man suddenly stood up, pointed to Shangguanzheng and said, "You are too reckless. Don't say that we are not spies, even if we are. If you go on like this, you will only kill more of your own people and let the spies go. If you go on like this, you will betray your relatives." But suddenly, Shangguanzheng disappeared from his eyes. Then, the man felt a chill on his back. Before he turned his head, he felt his hands suddenly extend from the back of his neck and gently press them on his shoulder. Then, Shangguanzheng, attached to his ear, said, "That is to say, I'm afraid you are also a traitor, so we won't let anyone go and kill all the people here." On hearing this, everyone's heart sank. Shangguanli was even more worried. He rushed forward and yelled, "No way. Now this kind of crisis, you even want to kill everyone. Do you think you can defeat them by yourself?" Don't be funny. Seeing that Shangguanli had said so, all of them had a lot of confidence. Many people began to denounce Shangguanzheng. All of a sudden, all kinds of sounds filled the interior of the Beast Gate. Some people simply said that they might as well go home. The military spirit is lax, which makes the whole Beast Gate feel shaky. Enough. Shangguanzheng suddenly roared, powerful pressure, let the people standing beside him instantly bleeding, fell to the ground, convulsed twice, did not move. Shangguanzheng narrowed his eyes and looked at the people standing below one by one. Finally, he stopped in front of Xiaomu. "Wait, Shangguanli, come here and see if this man looks a little familiar." The head of Shangguan's tomb didn't return. He waved to Shangguan to come over, and then he stared at Xiaomu, looking left and right. After returning to the Beast Gate, Xiaomu has been hiding in the team. Later, he feels insecure. Most people have seen his appearance. If so, he may be found. When he was at a loss, when he was on a mission alone, he met a man who was a villager. He gave Xiaomu a stone, which reacted with Xiaomu's own energy. Xiaomu found that he could blur his face and hinder people's memory. That is to say, they can't remember their appearance in Shangguanzheng, just put this stone on them. Xiaomu reached out and touched the stone on his body, and breathed. Shangguanliwen's speech quickly came to Xiaomu's front, looked at Xiaomu carefully, looked for a long time, suddenly Leng Wei, is quite familiar, seems to have seen where. Hearing what Shangguanli said, Shangguanzheng frowned. He suddenly grabbed Xiaomu's collar, put him in front of him, and continued to look at him carefully. This time, Shangguanzheng suddenly realized, pointed to Xiaomu and said to Shangguanli, "This man, how do you feel? A bit like the energy stone before." Xiaomu felt nervous. "Can it be found like this? It's really incredible. I touched the stone on my chest. It works for others. How did I get to Shangguanzheng? It didn't seem to have any effect." Shangguanli raised his eyebrows, looked at Xiaomu in surprise, and murmured, "But that man lost his memory, how can he come back here again? Now that stone, I'm afraid, will neither come back to Yunwu nor come back to us." Xiaomu listened to Shangguanli's words and looked up at Shangguanzheng's face. Seeing that Shang Guanzhong seemed to believe Shang Guanli's words, he was relieved and laughed. Boss, really, you said I didn't do anything here. You can't treat me as a traitor just because I'm like anyone else, don't you think so? Shang Guanzhong frowned and looked at Xiaomu carefully for a long time. He pursed his mouth and said coldly, I think it's better to kill 100 people than one. Say, want to stretch out a hand to grasp Xiaomu's neck. The people who had stolen the library with Xiaomu were worried. After all, the man in front of them had stolen the library with them, which made their skills improve by leaps and bounds. Moreover, they had saved their lives when the people from the Beast Gate came. If they were killed now, wouldn't they be too sorry for him? Thinking about this, several people looked at each other and rushed out, Boss. Xiaomu thought with a thump in his heart that he was the one who stole the library with 3 people at the beginning. If these 3 people gave up themselves at this time, wouldn't everything be in vain? Thinking about this, Xiaomu's brows were wrinkled, but his heart was already killing him. His hand was slowly placed behind his waist, and behind his waist, there was a short dagger, but at this time, Shang Guanzhong just reached for Xiaomu's hand and finally stopped. Turning his head, his eyes were very contemptuous. He glanced at those people and said faintly, Who are you? When did the people of the Beast Gate start to meddle in this kind of business? Boss. A man came over and stopped Xiaomu and said, We are very friendly with this brother on weekdays. Naturally, we know him well. He won't be a traitor at all. After all, he is very dull, can't speak, and doesn't know how to be flexible. If this kind of idiot can be a traitor, I think the boss had better kill all the people in the beast sect. Words, let Shang Guanzhong also can't help but Leng Leng, see in front of him is preparing to interrogate Xiaomu, for a long time didn't speak. How clever Xiaomu was, he immediately understood it and began to laugh, That's right, boss. I'm always bullied by others. They all help me. Although Shang Guanzhong was suspicious, he didn't doubt it after thinking about it. Because, just now, this person has been in a daze or confusion. Can we say that this person is really the mentally unsound person among these people? But when he looked at Xiaomu's face carefully, he felt familiar, but he couldn't remember what he looked like. Because of venting for such a long time, his mood finally improved a lot. Shang Guanzhong finally heaved a deep breath and said, It's all right. You've all dispersed. Don't let me see you here in the future. With that, he swung his sleeve and turned away. Finally, Xiaomu breathed in his heart, and all the people around him dispersed. No one doubted, because Xiaomu didn't talk to others at all. 3 people soon came to Xiaomu's side, patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile, Brother, are we going to return the love you saved us last time? Xiaomu felt very grateful. He patted the people around him on the shoulder and said with a smile, Thank you for your help. The 3 men looked at each other, then suddenly laughed, turned to look at the people around them, then came over again, attached to Xiaomu's ear and said, Why don't you take us to steal books again? Suddenly, the eyes of the 3 people all lit up. Xiaomu gave a bitter smile in his heart. These 3 people are really crazy. How can they be so obsessed with this kind of secret script? Now they are on the cusp of the storm. If they are found, I'm afraid the consequences will be very serious. He clenched his fist, but suddenly thought, it seems that stealing books is really a way for them to improve their level quickly. And Xiaomu is also hesitating, and he doesn't know how to improve the realm. If he improves the realm now, maybe the intelligence communication will be more smooth and accurate in the future. What's more, it's also a good thing to get the hearts of these friends. Nodding, Xiaomu said with a smile, Don't worry. We'll find a dark and windy night. It's not peaceful recently. We may be strict. Let's miss this time. Then several people's plans fell silent again. On the other hand, Shang Guanzhong was very suspicious of Xiaomu. In my opinion, this man is a bit strange. Shang Guanzhong leaned on his forehead, frowned and said, I feel that person is very similar to Xiaomu before. Maybe this person used some technique to make his face changed. But haven't we ever found this man before? Shang Guanli said, with a look of distress. I think we should know if it's a spy or not if we have a try. Shangguanzhong seemed to have thought of some plan, and a gloomy smile gradually came to his lips. So how do we try? Shang Guanli looks at Shangguanzhong in surprise. They lowered their heads and whispered for a moment, and a smile suddenly appeared in Shang Guanli's eyes. The next day, Xiaomu had planned to steal the library that night, but he suddenly received an order that they would carry out a battle plan tonight. They wanted to attack the stronghold of Long Qingxie and others. The stronghold was on a nearby mountain, but the specific stronghold address was not given. This makes Xiaomu very strange, because he has been in the headquarters of the Beast Gate recently and has not left, so he does not know the exact location of Long Qingxie and others, but since the people of the Beast Gate have given the order, it shows that this matter is true. In this way, Xiaomu was very nervous. He began to worry about whether the intelligence would go wrong again. In addition, his team did not participate in this mission. However, 3 people who planned to steal books also came. Several people saw him and came to him without saying a word. They pulled him to the corner, whispered and said happily, "We agreed to go tonight. Are you in the plan?" Xiaomu is about to say that he has, because it is convenient to go out to send information. On the one hand, he hesitated again, bowed his head and kept silent for a long time, and said, "Maybe our plan to steal books this evening will be cancelled, because I am. I'll show you where you are. If you're not here, let's go. Don't worry about it. If you don't go this time, can you believe me to tell the boss about stealing books directly?" Someone laughed. But this time, the situation was urgent, and he didn't know how many people were sent by the Beast Gate. Xiaomu was very tangled in his heart and bowed his head to meditate for a long time. On the one hand, the people in the headquarters have already been killed by Long Qingxie and others. Now if we gather together to attack Long Qingxie, we may be overpowering ourselves, although Long Qingxie doesn't get any advantage. Thinking about this, I was relieved, so I nodded and said, "Tonight, let's go to the library." So 4 people together, in the middle of the night toward the direction of the library, but Xiaomu did not know, this decision, let him successfully avoid this plot. The next day, sitting on the throne, Shangguanzhong frowned and said, "It's obvious that this man is not moving. So this man can be ruled out for the time being?" Shangguan asked. But Shangguanzhong shook his head seriously and said, "That's impossible." Squinting his eyes, he said, "The spy must feel our plan now. We can only explore it slowly now." Xiaomu stood at the door of the main hall, pale and vomited. How dangerous it is. If I had gone to the plan yesterday, I'm afraid it would have been exposed. I can't help sighing when I think about it. But now they are so suspicious, it's not a way, so Xiaomu must think of a way now. How can he let Shangguanzhong no longer doubt himself? Even with this stone on his body, Xiaomu's face can still be remembered by people with high level. Xiaomu thought in his heart and was ready to leave here quietly. Suddenly, he heard a voice behind him. "Who is it?" In the heart greatly surprised, obviously own movement is a little big, already let the inside of the Shangguanzhong found, Xiaomu quickly turned around, quickly ran toward the dark. But the Shangguanzhong behind him was faster. Before Xiaomu could run far, the Shangguanzhong behind him suddenly grabbed his neck, pulled him back and threw him on the ground. Xiaomu was thrown into a mess. His eyes were full of stars. He lay on the ground for a long time and didn't get up. Then he heard Shangguanzhong sneer, "What do I say? I say this person has a problem. Look who he is." Then Shang Guanli came out of the room and came to Xiaomu. When he saw Xiaomu, he was surprised and said, "It's really Xiaomu. How can he be in our team all the time?" Xiaomu's heart is surprised, how to return a responsibility, why can be recognized suddenly, the hand touched his chest. Sure enough, the stone disappeared. Shangguanzhong walked forward slowly, picked up a stone and looked at it for a long time. I think the reason why he can hide so long is because of this stone. Then he put the stone on Xiaomu's body and began to laugh. Sure enough, this stone must have something to do with him. As soon as he got close to this stone, his face would be blurred and people could not remember his appearance. Suddenly he raised his hand to lift Xiaomu up and said with a sneer, "It's really smart. I can't find this kind of thing." Xiaomu's heart sank to the bottom of the valley, and his whole body suddenly felt a chill. His heart was really finished. Just in time, we can't find the energy stone in our base. We'd better lock him up and continue to provide us with energy. Then he threw Xiaomu to one of his men, who tied him up and took him away. At the military aircraft camp of Yunjia Army Base, Yunwu was dressed in a long smoky gray shirt, with his armor hanging on the shelf beside him and his long hair tied up high, showing his whole spirit and brightness. At this time, she was standing and several top people in her team were looking at the same map and discussing something. The terrain of this place is complex, easy to defend but difficult to attack. Although the bases of Wanhuman are all in prosperous places, according to the newspaper, they didn't mean to fight this time. Instead, they directly closed the gate and opened the city protection battle. "We have no choice but to attack." Cloud Dance pointed to a city on the map, frowning and preaching to the people around. "A long time has passed, the front is advancing little by little, and the power of the Beast Gate is being destroyed little by little. It's just that it's very difficult for Yunwu to capture the city. The two sides have been deadlocked for many days, which is very annoying." Just at this time, a loud newspaper came out of the room Cloud Dance casually should, then see a dark man came in, hands still holding a thick letter, handed to Cloud Dance. "Report to the leader, news is coming from the southern front. General Gao has successfully attacked the prefecture-level base of Wanhuman." As soon as the words came out, people's eyes lit up immediately. Prefecture-level base. That's second only to the headquarters. And it's the only battle to win the prefecture-level base so far. In order to make the distribution convenient, Yunwu and others divided all the bases of Wanhuman before the battle, and also divided the strength of Heaven and Earth Xianhuang into 4 levels. There is only one Heaven level, which is the headquarters of Wanhuman. We can imagine how great the victory is. "Which base is it?" someone asked. "Hui Chieftain, it's the base of Dongxie Kingdom. It's in the south of our country. Now their front has surpassed ours. It's Gao Yu." Cloud Dance laughs and shakes his head. On the one hand, Gao Yu is the most resourceful. What about the others? Dragon Boss, like us, has captured more than 10 countries, and has also convinced those countries to join in the fight. Shangguan General and General Mu are slower than us. They just captured the 11th country yesterday, and they are recovering today. General Qi and General Nangong sent a victory report today, and they have captured the 10th country, and they are preparing for the next battle, and General Meng Bai, the man reported the information he received one by one, and almost everyone was a winner. After a report, Yunwu became more clear about the current situation, took a pen and made a few marks on the map. "Tell them to pay attention to the movement of the 10,000 Beast Gate and keep their strength to the maximum while fighting. Don't forget, we have to attack the base camp of the 10,000 Beast Gate." "Yes," the man answered respectfully and quickly stepped down. "Look, Chief!" Suddenly, a man standing next to Yunwu looked at the map and exclaimed, "Now the base we are going to attack is surrounded by us and General Gao. If General Gao can help us, we will have a better chance of winning." Yunwu just listened to the success report, but didn't think of it. At this time, as soon as he was reminded, his eyes lit up. He took up his pen and wrote on a blank piece of paper for a long time. All kinds of symbols represent the terrain and the number of people. After a long time, he put down his pen. "You see." Yunwu pointed to the things on the paper and said to the people around him, "With General Gao's team here, we can fight from here, and then attack back and forth. The personnel arrangement can be." In the meeting hall, people listened carefully, watched Yunwu tell the next action a little bit. At the beginning, they still couldn't understand it, but later, more and more people showed surprise on their faces, as if they saw success in front of them. "Good idea." After Yunwu finished, the people all praised. "As long as we follow this method, we will be able to win the city successfully. Those turtles in the Beast Gate have been hiding for so many days, and finally they have to be beaten down by us, yes. These bastards, We have to let them know our strength. Let's go. Go back and get ready, go. Go now. With that, they were ready to leave and prepare. At this time, suddenly, there was another announcement outside the door. Newspaper dash, the voice is loud and urgent, as if something big happened, and forcefully stops those who are about to leave. Come in. Cloud Dance orders away. Then a man in gold armor came in. As soon as he came in, he didn't even have time to salute, so he quickly said, Chief, there's a messenger from the Beast Gate to send a message. What? The Gate of Beasts? As soon as the announcer's voice fell, all the people on the scene were stunned, and their faces looked wonderful. They didn't understand why the Beast Gate would send someone to deliver the letter. The messenger of the Beast Gate? Cloud Dance wrung eyebrow to ask away. Yes. The man said, and then handed an envelope in his hand. This is the letter. The messenger has been taken down by us and is waiting to be summoned at any time. Cloud Dance with the result, is ready to open. A few generals standing on one side quickly stopped her. Chief! Don't be careless. This is from the Gate of Beasts. Chief! Beware of deceit. Cloud Dance hand action did not stop, but it is light back to a few people. There is no fraud, not all to see it. With that, the letter had been opened. Although everyone knew that Yunwu was telling the truth, they were still anxious and prepared for it. As soon as the letter was opened, several strands of black things fell down and landed on the table. Several generals got nervous and wanted to pull Yunwu aside. Yunwu is calm. If she is not sure, how dare she open the letter directly? But when her eyes fell on the broken black things on the table, her pupils suddenly contracted. That's hair. Cloud Dance's heart suddenly flashed a bad premonition, quickly opened the hands of the letter, seriously read up. In addition to the first few strands of hair, there was a thin letter and a few strands of hair in the envelope. The letter was very simple, but Yunwu knew it was written by Shengguanzhong himself. Seeing nothing unusual, the generals put down their hearts one after another. But then they saw that Yunwu's look became more and more ugly. They looked at each other and didn't know what had happened. However, Yunwu held a short letter in his hand for a long time and didn't put it down after reading it for many times. After a long time, Yunwu finally took a deep breath and powerlessly put down the letter in his hand. His eyes were deep and he didn't know what he was thinking. Chief, what's the matter? Several generals saw the strange look of Cloud Dance, and they asked anxiously. Yunwu pointed to the letter, and several generals picked it up and read it in turn. These Xiao Mu's hair. Several generals were surprised and said, Xiao Mu fell into their hands again. It's Xiao Mu who has been telling us all these days. Yunwu nodded difficultly, with a bitter smile on her face. I should have thought of that. Cloud Dance Light says, but in the heart blame oneself. Why don't an already have suspicion of time to send someone to investigate? Clear, will Xiao Mu back, but still want to let him stay in such a dangerous place, now has become such a situation, how to do? Well, Chief, what do we do now? Is it really like the retreat mentioned by Shengguanzhong? Asked a general, frowning. Shengguanzhong knew that Yunwu attached great importance to emotion and righteousness, so he dared to make such a request. The letter not only says that Yunwu wants to retire, but also that she wants to go to Wangwoman headquarters alone to exchange Xiao Mu. How can Yunwu go to such an obvious trap? But if he didn't, Xiao Mu would have no way to live. How is it possible to withdraw? A general said directly, we've been fighting for half a year, and in a few months, the whole upper boundary will be ours. How can we say that we're going to retreat? Don't you know that if the upper world falls into their hands again, will those countries that support us survive? But do you want to ignore Xiao Mu's safety? Another general immediately retorted, don't forget, he is very kind to the whole Yun family army. If he hadn't saved the leader at the beginning, where would there be a Cloud army now? Xiao Mu's name is very important. Isn't it important that there are so many creatures in the upper world and the safety of the leader? How is it possible to ask the leader to change Xiao Mu? I don't mean to let the leader change. Several generals quarreled with each other, one by one blushing and anxious, but no matter how they quarreled, there was no result. From the beginning to the end, Yunwoo didn't say a word. He just got up quietly and went to the bedside. Looking at the soldiers who were still training outside, he didn't know what he was thinking. They argued for a long time, but nothing happened. Finally, someone came up to the cloud dance standing in front of the window and asked, "Chief, do you have any idea?" These words, several people all quiet down, waiting for the decision of cloud dance. Yunwoo knew clearly that what these people said was reasonable. Let's not say that Xiaomu once saved himself. Even if he didn't save himself, he was also one of his important partners, so in any case, he couldn't save himself. Even when she finished reading the letter, she had already made a decision in her heart. Xiaomu had to go to save her. Now, other people are thinking about whether to save or not, but Yunwoo is thinking about how to save Xiaomu intact. The hidden Dan on her body is only enough for one person, and only one. If she only relies on Chaos Hall, she can't escape the exploration of Shangguansheng, unless she goes to save Xiaomu alone, and then hides in Chaos Hall and leaves with Hidden Dan under the condition of ensuring Xiaomu's safe departure, so as to achieve the beauty of both. But such an obvious thing, can't Shangguansheng think of it? Cloud Dance wring brow how can't think of an idea. Chief. After the crowd sought to shout, Cloud Dance still didn't respond and couldn't help shouting again. Cloud Dance turned around, looked at the crowd and said seriously, "You go down to prepare first, the previous plan remains unchanged." A few people are stunned, then someone asks aloud, "Chief, are you ready to leave him alone?" Yunwoo shook his head and said, "Naturally, it's my business." The content of the letter is very clear, one is to retreat, the other is to exchange Xiaomu. Our attack plan remains unchanged, and the soldiers will not withdraw for the time being, but I will go to see Shangguansheng. In this way, we also have the bargaining chips to deal with, so that we will not be completely passive. If Shangguansheng plays tricks, even if Yunwoo falls into his hands, Yunjiajin will still attack under the leadership of all the generals. Today's Yunjia army is not the same as before. After 6 months of training, all the experts, including Shangguan and Meng Bai, have greatly increased their strength. What's more valuable is that they all have the experience of leading the army and become strong men who can support one side independently. They take part of the Yunjia army to set up their own team, and each of them is responsible for one piece area. Everyone can take the place of Yunwoo. Chief, it's too dangerous for you to do this. You can't. Think twice, Chief. Xiaomu is very important, but if you want to change him, no one in the Cloud family army can agree. Cloud Dance tightened brow. Who says I want to change? Everyone was stunned. The leader just said. Cloud Dance sneered and said, I'm going to see Shangguansheng, but I'm not going to die. This time, I'm going to save Xiaomu completely. Looking at the look on Yunwoo's face, several people knew that it was useless for them to say anything else, so they had to look at each other and finally said, Chief, let's all go with you. It's okay. No need. Cloud wave a hand, a person go can, you follow, will let on the contrary officer grave heighten vigilance. If you're really worried about me, you might as well do something else. Do something else? A few people doubt of ask away, do what? Cloud Dance raised a cold smile at the corner of his mouth and gave an order without hesitation, tell the generals in other bases to increase the attack. Attack the headquarters of the Beast Gate with the fastest speed, Chief, according to our original plan, it will take at least 3 months to win the whole upper bound. If we really work hard. A general said in embarrassment. You don't have to work hard. Yunwoo waved his hand, it's just to advance the speed of everything. Our Yunjia army doesn't need to fight recklessly. You just need to take the words to them. They naturally know how to do it. Tomorrow I will go to the Gate of Beasts. As for you, attack the city according to the previous plan. Did you hear that? Several generals looked at each other and saw their trust in Yunwoo in each other's eyes. Since she made a decision so definitely, there must be no problem. So they all nodded and immediately said, yes. Yunwoo ordered some other things. Several generals listened very carefully. When all the things were ordered, they left the room one by one. Yunwu was still thinking about the countermeasures when he saw Shangguanzheng tomorrow. Another base led by Long Qingxie. Different from Yunwu, today's dragon Qingxie is resting. He just won a city a few days ago. Naturally, he has to stay for a few days to repair and move on. When Long Qingxie was thinking about when to attack the next city and whether to let these bastards have too much time to rest, he received the news from Yunwu. What did you say? The little guy wants to go to the headquarters alone. After receiving the news, Long Qingxie directly ignored the order to attack that part with all his strength. Instead, he grabbed the person in front of him and asked with staring eyes. The only thing that could make him so impolite was the news of Yunwu. Yes, the leader said that she was sure to retreat, and that Xiaomu had to be saved, because he had sent us so many letters in such a dangerous place. That person's words didn't finish, then directly by the Long Qing evil throw to one side, then quickly obediently stand there, a little voice also don't dare to make. The expression on Long Qingxie's face was very ugly, and his mind was full of clouds. He was very anxious about what might happen when he went to the Beast Gate, but he knew clearly that he couldn't stop her at all. Otherwise, if Xiaomu didn't save her, he would feel guilty all his life. For today's plan, we can only rack our brains to think about how to make Yunwu safely save Xiaomu from the Beast Gate and come out again. Long Qingxie thought about it for a long time. Finally, he bit his teeth and decided to take risks. So he asked the messenger, did she say when to leave? Yes, the leader will leave on the next day. Tomorrow. Long Qingxie's eyes narrowed, and then he took up the pen and wrote a few pages. He wrote several letters in a row, then handed them to the man and said, go and send the letter to other people as soon as you can, quick. As soon as the man saw Long Qingxie's attitude, he didn't dare to neglect him. He quickly took it over and left. The next morning, before everyone in the base woke up, Yunwu pushed the door open and ran to the direction of the Beast Gate. Beast Gate Headquarters. Cloud Dance came to the headquarters, the hand of the ancient sword wrapped in black flame, burning. She stood at the gate of the main hall, her face as cold as frost, and the whole body sent out the prestige, which made some of the lower-level minions of the Beast Gate tremble, and almost fell to the ground. The clouds in the sky are very thick. It seems that they are going to crush the whole headquarters of the Beast Gate. Yunwu is biting his teeth. From a distance, he can see the gate of the Beast Gate, which is heavily guarded. There are as many as 12 guards at the gate, about 6 of them. They are all energetic and don't look at everything in front of them carelessly. During this period of time, the Beast Gate has been attacked repeatedly, which makes them suffer a great deal. Their troops are seriously damaged, so they dare not be careless now. Who knows if someone will attack the Beast Gate suddenly next. However, when Yunwu suddenly appeared in front of them, the people of the Beast Gate were still startled. They almost had no time to pick up the weapon in their hands, and they were already trembling. Anyone who doesn't know her knows her. Almost all the guards backed out. Although we all know that Yunwu came to trade, they were still instinctively afraid of Yunwu. So someone rushed into the headquarters to report the news. Before they ran into the main hall, they saw Shangguanzheng coming out of the main hall and standing in front of Yunwu. Yunwu, I don't know our conditions. What's your consideration? Shangguanzheng seems to be in a good mood. He steps down the main hall and comes to Yunwu. Let's talk about the conditions first. I want to see the situation of Xiaomu first. Yunwu frowned and his face was very cold. He didn't want to see Shangguanzheng's face at all. Shangguanzheng was not annoyed, but he just said with a smile, don't worry. If we kill Xiaomu, we have no qualification to negotiate with you. On hearing this, Yunwu's face finally looked a little better, but he said with a cold face, I said, I must see Xiaomu, otherwise, everything is free. Shangguanzheng raised his eyebrows and looked at Yunwu. He seemed to ponder for a long time. Finally, he said faintly, if you have to insist, I can take you, but I can't bring Xiaomu here. Cloud Dance also bowed his head to think about it. Maybe he thought Shangguanzheng's worry was right, so he nodded and said, then you take me there. I don't want you to play any tricks. I can also tell you that the soldiers have not withdrawn yet. Shangguanzhong shrugged his shoulders as if it didn't matter. He turned around and took the lead to walk into the main hall. Then he turned straight down and went underground with Cloud Dance. Yunwu frowned, because she knew that they had locked Xiaomu underground again and used it as an energy stone for the whole base. The feeling of taking advantage of Xiaomu made Yunwu very angry. He followed Shangguanzhong and went underground step by step. Walking lower and lower, walking colder and colder, until finally, Yunwu's mouth has exhaled breath. Finally, in the dark place under the ground, Yunwu finally saw Xiaomu, who was pale and trapped under the ground. His face was dispirited and his eyes were in a trance. It was obvious that these days of exercise and grinding had made him unbearable. Suddenly hear the sound from outside, Xiaomu finally some dull raised his head, at this time, eyes a bright, then, eyes a little red. Because in front of him, Yunwu stood quietly in front of him, looking at him with a smile, but did not say a word. Yunwu frowned slightly and looked at Xiaomu. It seemed that there was no obvious scar on Xiaomu's body, but the whole person was not so energetic, which made Yunwu very sad. He turned his head and said to Shangguanzhong, "You release him, I want to see him." Shangguanzhong hesitated for a moment, but later he thought about it. After all, Yunwu's realm is too low. In front of him, if she is alone, it can't become the climate. Underground, he has countless ways to find her, even if she is invisible. Thinking about this, he nodded and told the people around him to let Xiaomu out. As soon as he came out, Yunwu quickly held Xiaomu and looked at him up and down. Fortunately, Xiaomu had no obvious scars. Just look very tired, just left and right to see, really nothing, this really vomit a breath, sneer. Shangguanzhong, I see you are still sincere, so you let Xiaomu go first, and then I replace him. Who knows? Shangguanzhong snorted coldly, full of sarcasm. Yunwu, do you really think I'm a fool? Who doesn't know that you have some special means to hide your breath? If I let him go and you disappear in front of me, what should I do? Do you really think I'm stupid? At this moment, Xiaomu suddenly turned to Yunwu and called, "Yunwu. I'm of no great use. You don't have to give up your life for me. You know, you have more important things to do." Cloud Dance didn't pay attention to him, just raised his head, calmly looked at Shangguanzhong, said, "Then you come to talk about, how can we exchange this condition?" Shangguanzhong had a sarcastic smile on his mouth, but he didn't speak. Turning to look at Xiaomu, Xiaomu looks at Shangguanzhong angrily, but his body is in front of Yunwu. It seems that he is afraid of Yunwu's mistakes. Shangguanzhong looked at the two men and burst out laughing, "What a loyal dog protector. I just think you are too cunning. If I let Xiaomu go now, I'm afraid I will be destroyed here. How can I believe you now?" On hearing this, Yunwu frowned. But before she could say anything, Xiaomu could not help it. He waved his sword and said, "Shangguanzhong. Don't be too complacent then." Before Shangguanzhong could react, he rushed forward. Xiaomu. Yunwu was surprised, but he didn't dare to neglect it. At this time, he could only help Xiaomu, so he rushed up, but then several experts rushed to fight with Yunwu. But Xiaomu was defeated by Shangguanzhong after all. In this way, he was seen by Shangguanzhong. Shangguanzhong turns his head and looks at Yunwu. Yunwu is concentrating on fighting against several experts around him, but has no time to care about Xiaomu. Suddenly, he reached out and grabbed Xiaomu's neck, lifted him up, looked at the Cloud Dance and said, "How do you think about Cloud Dance? I want you to give me a definite answer." Before he heard the sound, Yunwu turned his head and looked in the direction of Xiaomu. Xiaomu's face turned red and he felt very sad. He opened his mouth but couldn't breathe. "If you dare to hurt him today, I'm going to level this place today." Yunwu's eyes are red and his tone is fierce. Yunwu gritted his teeth, looked at the people around him, and looked at the red-faced Xiaomu in Shangguanzhong's hands. He glared at Shangguanzhong in front of him angrily and said, "Originally, I came to negotiate with you, but you fight here quietly. What do you want me to do?" On hearing this, Shangguanzhong nodded with a smile. Finally, he reached out and let go of Xiao Mu, shrugged his shoulders and said, I just don't know, how do you want to negotiate this? Xiao Mu, who was put down, ran to Yunwu in a hurry, frowned tightly, took Yunwu's arm and said, Yunwu, you can't do this. Now you are not the time to save me, but the time to gather the army to discuss attacking the Beast Gate. It's very unwise of you to save me and change me. He sighed and whispered, it's not a pity that I'm dead alone, but now I still need to use my life to hold them in Shangguanzhong, so now I can't die. If you leave here, it's the greatest help to me. But Yunwu frowned and her eyes were slightly red. She couldn't hear it. Now what Xiao Mu said is nonsense. She turned away from Xiao Mu and looked at him very seriously. I said you can't die. You just can't die. It's no use trying to persuade me. Today I have to save you. Then he turned his head, looked up at Shangguanzhong and said, I'll change Xiao Mu. I'll be the hostage. You let him go. Before his words, Xiao Mu shook his head seriously and said, it's impossible. You can't succeed in Shangguanzhong. If you dare to hurt Yunwu, I will never let you go. You are so affectionate that I have been moved to tears. Shangguanzhong sneered, and suddenly said, but I've changed my mind now. Neither of you can leave now. Suddenly, a black fighting spirit sprang out of his body. His eyes were red and his fingers were like withered claws. Yunwu suddenly turned red. He quickly pushed away Xiaomu, and then swung his big knife to Shangguanzhong. The aggressive appearance made Shangguanzhong give up his attack on Xiaomu and withdraw to one side. But Yunwu didn't dodge anymore. The thunder element on the broadsword was shining. She looked at a group of people in black robes around her. Her eyebrows suddenly wrinkled. She turned to Xiaomu and said, you deal with other people, I'll deal with Shangguanzhong. Xiaomu nodded seriously and turned to the group of people behind him. But now, 2 people suffer from the enemy, very difficult. Yunwu calls Xiaojiu and Xiaoqiu to help. However, this situation makes Yunwu very nervous. Turn around and look at Xiaomu. Xiaomu is also hard to fight. There are many people in black robe, and most of them are strong. Surrounded by Xiaomu, Xiaomu has been injured for a long time. Shangguanzhong, you villain. Cloud Dance gnaws his teeth and roars, but Shangguanzhong is laughing, not moved at all, easily avoiding the attack of Cloud Dance. I don't think you want all the people here to die here, so put away your conspiracy. You don't think I'll lose your plan to save Xiaomu? You have Chaos Hall and Hidden Dan. If you disappear from my eyes, I can't find you. Yunwu frowned deeply, thinking that Shangguanzhong really knew me, and he knew everything I wanted to use thoroughly. If it goes on like this, the consequences will be Cloud Dance turns to see Xiaomu, and Xiaomu also turns to see himself not far away. But in an instant, a black-robed man behind Xiaomu suddenly took up a weapon and stabbed Xiaomu. Xiaomu, be careful. As soon as Yunwu called out, he heard Xiaomu snort, and his abdomen was pierced. He turned pale and stabbed the man in black behind him. He pulled out the sword from his stomach and looked at Yunwu. However, Yunwu was still looking at him, smiling, covering the wound on his stomach and turning to fight. Behind him, Shangguanzhong has already stretched out his hand to grasp Yunwu's neck, which is a fatal weakness for anyone. Shangguanzhong sneered and looked at Yunwu's neck exposed in front of him. It was as fast as lightning and suddenly grabbed it. But Shangguanzhong didn't expect that Yunwu had already expected that Shangguanzhong would sneak attack behind his back. He easily avoided Shangguanzhong's hand and slashed it back with a backhand. The whirring wind made Shangguanzhong's face slightly changed and he hurried back. However, another black-robed man standing beside Yunwu secretly extended his weapon to Yunwu. Yunwu, who is concentrating on dealing with Shangguanzhong, doesn't pay any attention to the minions behind her. When she feels the attack behind her, it's too late. She stabs her arm with a long sword. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in his right hand, and his wrist became soft. Guwu broadsword was thrown on the ground with a bang, and blood flowed slowly down his arm. As soon as Xiaomu sees that Yunwu is injured, he turns red and runs towards Yunwu. However, he is obstructed by the One Human's men around him. He can only deal with the One Human's men around him and watch the situation of Yunwoo. He is worried but can't help it. Yunwoo covers his arm in pain. Now he really can't even hold the knife. If it goes on like this, I'm afraid there's only one way to die. His left hand is very inconvenient to take up his ancient martial arts sword and hasten to stop bleeding with water. Yunwoo, it's a wrong decision for you to come here today. I don't think that even if they come, I'm afraid they can save you. Shanggunsong is very proud of Cloud Dance said, but suddenly frown. Because all of a sudden, a huge cannibal suddenly appeared in front of Yunwoo. The cannibal suddenly opened its big mouth and bit at the people on the ground. Suddenly, bursts of heartbreaking screams sounded, and countless black-robed people had been torn to pieces by the cannibal. Suddenly, a man in black came in behind him and said to Shanggunsong, "Report to boss." There's a big army coming in. Cloud Dance suddenly in the heart a tight thought, if it is the army, then I'm afraid it should be Dragon Ching Xia, and how can Dragon Ching Xia bring so many people to break into here, and before, Cloud Dance clearly concealed the crowd quietly came, in the end who leaked the news. Thinking about this, a burst of anger in Yunwoo's heart suddenly came into being. He turned his head and looked at the direction of the black-robed man. Long Qingxie was the first to appear in the sight of Cloud Dance. He was holding his own épée in his hand. His brow was tight, his eyes were cold, and his whole body was full of murderous spirit. And not far behind him, a large group of people, like a black cloud, followed him and slowly came here. All of a sudden, everyone began to deal with the 10,000 beast men stationed here. Cloud Dance bowed his head and sneered, shouting, "Little Nine." Go! Just then, Xiaojiu suddenly rushed out, leaped up and bit Shanggunsong's face. Shanggunsong's brows are wrinkled, and there is a sound of trouble in the dark. He quickly sidesteps to avoid it, but suddenly a phoenix flies down in the sky. The shrill cry makes Shanggunsong nervous, but he sees that the phoenix has swept over his head, trying to pick up his collar. Shanggunsong gave a cold hum, and suddenly clapped it. With great power, the black fighting air was shooting in the direction of Xiaoqiu. Suddenly, Xiaoqiu turned to avoid it. Yunwoo looks at Shanggunsong. Shanggunsong has been distracted by Xiaojiu and Xiaoqiu. It's a good time for Yunwoo to sneer in his heart, tear off one of his clothes, tie the dagger and his hand together, try it, it should be okay, and then leap up, so fast that Shanggunsong can't react. Just hear Shanggunsong cry out, Cloud Dance sneer, shake off the blood on his knife, look at Shanggunsong, but see Shanggunsong cover his stomach. On the stomach, a wound was so big that it seemed to cut off Shanggunsong, but it was not deep. It didn't seem to cause much damage to Shanggunsong. Cloud Dance suddenly heart a sink, turned to see Xiaowood there. Xiaomu has already run over and stood beside Yunwoo. His wounds make him look very embarrassed. He gasps heavily, and his wounds are bleeding. He gradually dyed his clothes red. He comes to Yunwoo and says, Yunwoo, no, you can't go quickly. I'll deal with it here. If we have to go alone, we can't escape at all. What the hell, no way. I can't let you die. I want to go with you. Cloud Dance frowned tightly, holding the knife in both hands, quickly attacked Shanggunsong. Xiaomu looks at Yunwoo with a complicated face. He always knows that Yunwoo is a very stubborn person. There is no way to change what she has decided, which makes Xiaomu very sad. He doesn't want Yunwoo to die for him or save him. However, Yunwoo always tells Xiaomu to take him with him. Xiaomu lowered his head and thought carefully. In his eyes, he seemed to have a little bit of determination. He suddenly leaped forward and waved his sword to resist the attack of Shanggunsong. Standing in front of Yunwoo, he said, Yunwoo, I advise you that the best way for you now is to leave here. I think you can't put your life in because of me. You know, your life is not good now. They belong to themselves, but to all those who are waiting for the elimination of the Beast Gate. So, Yunwoo, stop it. Cloud Dance's tone is a little cold, but Xiaomu can hear it. The tone is angry. He knows that Cloud Dance is determined and doesn't intend to leave by himself. The cloud dance standing behind Xiaomu stopped the blood from the wound of Xiaomu with water element, then stood side by side with Xiaomu, and the big knife crossed in front of him and said, "Xiaomu, you can rest assured." The attack of Shengguanzhong is very fierce, but Yunwu and Yunwu are not the opponents of Shengguanzhong at all. They reluctantly accept the attack of Shengguanzhong. Yunwu and Yunwu are already panting for breath, with big and small wounds and hot pain. Shengguanzhong didn't get any advantage either. Although the wounds on his body were not fatal, they seriously slowed down Shengguanzhong's speed. He was very embarrassed and his clothes were broken. Yunwu and Xiaomu are very alert. On the one hand, they have to be alert to the sudden attack of Shengguanzhong. On the other hand, they have to solve the problem of the black-robed people around them. Cannibal Flower's efforts to eliminate the black-robed man behind him are very strong, and Xiaojiu and Xiaoqiu also help Yunwu fight against Shengguanzhong. However, they are all hurt to varying degrees, which makes Yunwu feel sad. Yunwu's injured hand kept shaking, and the knife became more and more heavy in his hand. Finally, the knife was deeply inserted on the ground, making a sound of miso. Yunwu's whole body softened and fell on his knees with cold sweat and pale face. Xiaomu was so scared that he bent down to help Yunwu. As soon as Shengguanzhong's eyes brightened, he immediately picked up one of his men's swords on the ground and stabbed Xiaomu. Xiaomu could not dodge, but was stabbed and fell to the ground. Yunwu gets up in a hurry and protects Xiaomu behind him. His chest fluctuates violently and his face is cold. The battle entered a state of anxiety. Shengguanzhong's eyes were wide open, as if he was going to swallow Yunwu alive, even with a touch of madness in his eyes. Cloud Dance. You want to destroy the Beast Gate? Think it's that easy? The roar of anger resounded all over the world, and the whole people of the Beast Gate were shocked. After staying here for so long, I know Shengguanzhong is irritable, but I have never seen him get so angry. It seems that he may die with Yunwu at any time. Shengguan was very anxious. He was in the middle of the battle. Seeing Shengguanzhong like this, he had to try his best to get close to Shengguanzhong and remind him anxiously, "Don't forget that we still have the headquarters. Don't be so emotional." Shengguanzhong couldn't listen to others at this time. Shengguanli persuaded him. On the contrary, he glared at Shengguanli and sneered, "How can I go to that point? Today, even if they can destroy this place, I will kill them." Having said that, Shengguanzhong rushed forward directly, and the black energy burst up. From a distance, I only felt that Shengguanzhong was black. Yunwu and Xiaomu fight side by side with several summoning beasts. Both of them are injured, but others are pestering other experts. There are so many experts in the headquarters that they don't have any extra thoughts to take care of them. Only the dragon's eyes can see them from time to time and pay attention to the safety of Yunwu. They all know that today's war is extremely dangerous, but none of them flinches back. All of them are in the mood of looking at death as if they would return home. In the face of the beast men, all the forces that continued in the past broke out. Little dance. At this time, Xiaomu suddenly made a voice and called softly. Unlike before, this time his voice was very ethereal, as if it came from a faraway place. Cloud Dance eyebrows a jump. Yu Guang looked at Xiaomu one eye, but saw that he was still serious staring at Shengguanzhong, although is talking with her, but did not turn his head. Xiaomu didn't mean to let Cloud Dance answer, so he went on. "Xiao Wu, I have been with you for a long time. I know the meaning of my existence and what I should do. The Cloud family is gone, but I still believe that one day, you will lead us to destroy the Beast Gate and rebuild the Cloud family." Cloud Dance's heart slowly pulled up, but still said, "What nonsense, we will live out, 10,000 Beast Door will be destroyed, we will not be less." Xiaomu's mouth was slightly crooked, but he didn't retort, "I know, everyone, none of them will be less." Yunwu frowned. He always thought it was strange, but before he could say anything, Shengguanzhong had already attacked. Black energy comes with powerful attack. Even if there are 5 willing masters including Summon Beast, they dare not face it directly. Cloud Dance quickly pulls Xiaomu to one side, and the ancient sword in his hand cuts to Shengguanzhong. Xiao Mu's eyes swept around. The base was already full of blood. The corpse was lying in all directions, and the smell of blood filled the sky. Some of the corpses were from the Beast clan, some from the Yun family army, and some even died under the big move. Even the bone poison could not be preserved. Xiao Mu's eyes flashed a touch of pain, and the smile from the corner of his mouth seemed very desolate. Finally, it is fixed on Yunwu's body, as if it can't be seen enough, and it is like watching her forever. Yunwu once again pulls Xiaomu to avoid the attack of Shengguanzhong. Turning around, she sees Xiaomu staring at himself in a daze. It's no wonder that she didn't avoid the attack of Shengguanzhong just now, as if she lost her soul. If she didn't pull him away in time, the attack just now would have hit him. Cloud Dance can't help but frown and say, "What's the matter with you? Even the battle with Shengguanzhong can be distracted?" The corner of Xiaomu's mouth was crooked, showing a faint smile, and said, "Little Dance. I really want to see another brilliant day for the Cloud family." Cloud Dance pursed the corners of her mouth and said firmly, "It will." "That's good." The corner of Xiaomu's mouth moved slightly, as if he had finally decided the important thing in his heart. At this time, the attack of Shengguanzhong came again. Yunwu grabs Xiaomu and wants to pull him away, but unexpectedly, at this time, Xiaomu dodges. Cloud Dance sees Xiaowu finally no longer in a daze, this just slightly relieved. Clinker Xiaowu immediately gave her a word. "Xiaowu, I really want to see the day when the Beast Gate is destroyed, but it's a pity that I'm doomed not to see it." Cloud Dance is surprised, suddenly feel this words like were heard general, have inexplicable familiar feeling. But before Yunwu could remember where he had heard it, Xiaomu left his last sentence. "Xiaowu, take care from now on." After that, Xiaomu's figure flashed and rushed to Shengguanzhong alone. At this moment, Yunwu finally remembers the scene that happened in the border under the dungeon of Wanwoman. Xueyin, who had been practicing for thousands of years, exploded on the spot in order to destroy the base of Wanwoman. Xiaomu dash, Cloud Dance a sharp cry, even broke the sound, but it was too late. Xiaomu had already rushed to Shengguanzhong. He held a long sword tightly in his hand and stabbed directly at Shengguanzhong. "Well, I can't help myself." Shengguanzhong sneered and didn't put Xiaomu in his eyes. He waved his hand and released a black energy. This attack was just a random one, originally just to influence Xiaomu's position, but unexpectedly, Xiaomu didn't mean to escape at all, so he went up directly to the attack. The point of the long sword directly attacked Shengguanzhong. At the same time, there was a layer of protection layer of fighting spirit on his body. He just caught Shengguanzhong's attack. The attack soon disappeared, but Xiaomu's mouth left a touch of bright red blood. Speed has an impact, but still firmly towards Shengguanzhong. Cloud Dance has been catching up for a long time, but Xiaomu is also in the realm of Wuling. Is it so easy to catch up? In a twinkling of an eye, Xiaomu arrived at Shengguanzhong's present, and then bullied himself in Shengguanzhong's shocked eyes. His eyes were full of madness. "Ha ha ha Shengguanzhong. Go to hell!" Xiaomu burst out laughing, and the sword in his hand was about to stab him in front of Shengguanzhong. Shengguanzhong frowned, raised his hand and held the sword. The black energy spread along the sword, and the strong corrosion directly destroyed the sword. However, even now, Xiaomu is still with a crazy smile, not only did not retreat, but his hands directly forward, mercilessly grasped Shengguanzhong's neck. Shengguanzhong was shocked, and instantly understood what Xiaomu wanted to do. "Madman! You lunatic!" Shengguanzhong cried out in panic and tried his best to throw Xiaomu out, but Xiaomu seemed to have exhausted all his strength and would not let go. The smile on the face is bigger and bigger, Xiaomu's body begins to emerge a touch of light, and then more and more bright. That's the precursor of self-explosion. Yunwu's heart suddenly missed half a beat. He knew that it was irreparable now, but he still rushed forward. There was only one idea in his heart, which was to stop Xiaomu. "Xiaomu!" The Cloud Dance cries miserably, the body that rushes forward is pulled abruptly by the person, the Long Qing evil doesn't say a word to embrace the Cloud Dance to quickly retreat. Once there is a sign of self-explosion, there is no power to return to heaven, and the power generated by self-explosion is extremely powerful. In the face of the known consequences, how can Long Qingxie allow Yunwu to take risks? With Shangguanzhong as the center, a blank circle has long been formed within a certain range around, and even everyone is constantly retreating for fear of being affected. Everything happened between lightning and flint, but it seemed very long. Cloud dance. 2 people haven't had time to retreat far, self-explosion will ring out. Powerful power burst out, as if to destroy all around. Long Qingxie presses Yunwu in his arms, retreats to the direction of Shangguanzhong, and tries his best to rush out, but he still can't escape. The strength came from behind, and the defense of Long Qingxie couldn't resist at all. He took part of the damage abruptly. Yunwu, who was forced to press in his arms, clearly heard a dull hum, and the whole person seemed to lose his mind. There was a loud bang and a dull hum. One is dead and the other is wounded. Yunwu's eyes were wide open, as if she had lost all her life in an instant. A tear fell from her eyes, but she was still expressionless. Xiaomu dead. The dragon's speed did not decrease. Even though he was injured, he still rushed forward with the help of this blow, and finally arrived at a safer place, but his back was already bloody. At the center of the explosion, there was a dazzling light. Later, there were bursts of dust. It took a long time to disperse. Xiaomu. At this time, all the people who saw this scene could not help but read the name in their heart. How are you, little fellow? Dragon Qing Evil bow to see Cloud dance a facial expressionless, as if lost the appearance of the soul, worry of say. After several calls, Yunwu didn't react to them until someone from the Yunjiajin came and watched them anxiously. Without saying a word, Yunwu directly broke away from the embrace of Long Qingxie and went around his back. He saw that his back was bloody, but just now he talked to her as if nothing had happened. Yunwu's heart was aching again. He raised his hand, and a soft water element was released to cure the injury of Long Qingxie. The explosion in the distance finally ended, and the dust in the air kept falling, and finally a calm was restored. Everyone's eyes were on the center of the explosion just now. They saw that it had become a piece of ruins. They couldn't see the original appearance at all. They couldn't even find the figure of Shangguanzhong in it. The life of the Beast Gate is afraid of the death of Shangguanzhong. When everyone becomes their center, there will be only one way to die. And the people of the Cloud family army are eager to go to the official grave and die now, which makes Xiaomu not waste his life in vain. When it exploded, Shangguanzhong was in it, and it was closest to Xiaomu. Could he survive? Was it a blow-up? Many people think so. The wound behind Long Qingxie slowly heals. At the end of the treatment, Yunwu just hears the comments of the people around him. Shangguanzhong is still alive. Cloud Dance coldly said, the voice is extremely cold, as if from the abyss of hell. Clearly is not a loud word, but as if everyone's ears have sounded like, all people at this moment will look at the place where the clouds. Now Cloud Dance is the top master of Cloud family army. Since she said that, she must have felt something. I saw the people around listen to the words of Cloud Dance, have grasped the weapons in their hands, a face vigilant looking at the direction of the disappearance of Shangguanzhong. They have blind support for Yunwu. What's more, Xiaomu has just died, and Long Qingxie is seriously injured. His anger at the Beast Gate has reached the extreme. Everyone wants to rush in now. Sure enough, not long after Yunwu finished talking, the ruins suddenly moved. Yunwu's eyes were gloomy, and other Yunjiajin were ready immediately. But after all, there were still people closer to the explosion center than they were. A group of people in black robes rushed to the direction of the ruins and finished the ruins. As expected, they saw the Shangguan tomb under pressure. At this time, Shangguanzhong was really not very good. There was a bright red mark on the corner of his mouth, and his clothes were already ragged. People close to him could clearly feel that his breath was very unstable, as if he might die at any time. At this time, it's just hard support. If he wants to start, he's afraid that he won't be able to walk for several rounds in the current Cloud Dance hand. However, Shengguanzhong is used to being strict on weekdays, and other people dare not put forward anything, nor dare they tell the real injury of Shengguanzhong, let alone care about it. Is that all? Cloud dance in the mind of such a problem. Just hurt Shengguanzhong, but with a life of Xiaomu? Xiaomu, why are you so stupid? Even if you don't, I will save you. Cloud dance in the heart of sad thought, but all too late. Shengguanzhong. Not far away, someone yelled angrily, but it was Shengguan's voice. At this time, he was holding a long sword and pointed to Shengguanzhong. Shengguanzhong. You've done a lot of evil. Now it's killing my brother. I will not spare you. Shengguanzhong almost couldn't stand, and it was all supported by the people around him secretly, but it didn't show up. It's up to you? I'm the traitor of the Beast Gate. You are the traitor. Traitor of the world. Why should I listen to you? Today, you stay here and don't want to leave again. I want you to pay for your brother. After that, Shengguan was the first to rush up with a long sword. Shengguan. Take me one. I want to avenge Xiaomu. Mu Xiuming yelled in a hurry. His eyes were cold, and the summoning array flickered at his feet. Then he directly released his own summoning beast and followed it closely. And me. I'll take revenge on Xiaomu, too. One more. I will kill Shengguanzhong myself and me. One by one, the voices kept ringing, and they rushed to Shengguanzhong. Yunwu's heart was full of anger. He held the sword tightly in his hand and rushed up like others. Just before he left, he made a special explanation to let people see the dragon pour out evil. Just now, in order to avoid the explosion and stop fighting again. There are many experts in the headquarters of the Beast Gate. At this time, the people brought by Long Qingxia are just a few partners with military power. It's really hard to deal with the headquarters. Fortunately, Shengguanzhong has been seriously injured. Yunwu didn't feel his injury until the fight, so he wanted to revenge. But Shengguanzhong was lucky. All the members of the Yun family army were angry, shouting loudly, "Kill, rush to the Beast Gate, don't let anyone go." But after all, the strength is limited. No matter how they play, they are always in a state of anxiety. Little dance. Shengguan. Look! Mu Xiuming suddenly found something and pointed to a direction for everyone to see. People turned to see, only to find that it was such a huge army that was constantly approaching. And the leader of the army is Gao Yu. It's Gao Yu. He's bringing people, too. Shengguan yelled excitedly. Only a few of them knew about this action. It was a secret thing, but he didn't expect that Gao Yu would come at the last moment. In the twinkling of an eye, Gao Yu had already brought the Yunjiajin to Yunwu. With the group of Yunjiajin people behind him, looking at the surprise and excitement of the Yunwu people around him, he was a little embarrassed, scratched his head and laughed. The heavy atmosphere of Yunwu and others seemed to pour in a new blood, and the whole team had vitality and hope. They turned around and looked at the surrounding battlefield. Those who had been depressed because of repeated defeats began to fight back. At that moment, they were full of strength. Why are you here? I asked you to attack the branch with all your strength. And did you tell Long Qingxia about my coming here? Yunwu stepped forward, almost without saying a word of blame, but could not hide the joy in the tone. With the Yunjiajin, we are sure to win. Some people around said, are excited. The original silence of everyone began to appear on the face of a smile. Gao Yu and others looked at each other, but they didn't speak. They just bowed their heads and laughed. The kind of upright and shy soldiers made Yunwu feel helpless for a while. They turned to look around. Everyone was very excited because of the arrival of Gao Yu and others. This undoubtedly adds to the fighting spirit of these people present. Gao Yu didn't stop. He immediately organized a platoon of soldiers and began to let the Yun family army divide into small teams to support everywhere and continue to fight with the Beast Gate. With the participation of the Cloud Army, the battle suddenly became smooth. At this time, all the members of the 10,000 beast sect around him had begun to retreat, which made Shengguanzhong very angry. The whole body was full of black air and murderous air. The huge energy gathered the stones on the ground and shot them out. All of a sudden, the stones are like hidden weapons, flying in the direction of Yunwoo and others. Yunwoo was not in a hurry. He carried his fighting spirit all over his body, and countless stones hit him. Although the pain was unbearable, he was not seriously injured. He turned to look around him. Fortunately, everyone practiced and improved in Linghu, so that although he could not resist Shengguanzhong, he could protect himself. Among them, only a few people were hit by the stone of Shengguanzhong and suffered some injuries. After asking about everyone's injuries, it was determined that there was no problem. Yunwoo put down her heart and rushed to Shengguanzhong with a knife. Her eyes were red with grief and indignation. She thought that Xiaomu had died miserably, which made her repress her anger for such a long time. Now, with the support of Yunjiajin, she can go to fight with Shengguanzhong at ease. Dageo throws a sword flower in her hand. The other injuries on her body make Yunwoo feel no pain in her arm. She is fighting with Shengguanzhong quickly. Shengguanzhong is seriously injured because of Xiaomu's self-explosion. At this time, she is reluctant to deal with Yunwoo. Looking at the cloud dancing with red eyes and silver teeth biting, Long Qingxie frowned tightly, killed the people around him, leaped up and joined the fierce battle. The battle is still in the white heat. Shengguanzhong vomits blood, staggers a few steps, and his face turns pale. He turns to look around him. His men are defeated by the attack of Yunjiajin. The men of Wanwoman, who were unable to fight Yunwoo and others, are now beaten by Yunjiajin's men. This makes Shengguanzhong very angry. He coughed twice and coughed up blood again. Shengguanzhong knew that his current situation was urgent. He had no choice but to make a sudden effort to beat Yunwoo in front of him and retreat behind him. Shengguanzhong, where are you going? Where would Yunwoo give him the chance to escape? He jumped up and rushed forward. The black flame on the sword seemed to be murderous. With a strong wind, he quickly attacked the direction of Shengguanzhong's escape. Shengguan's black fighting spirit is very difficult to distinguish among people in black robes, so many people in black robes will largely ignore Shengguan's attack in such a chaotic battlefield. So much so that Shengguan can kill countless enemies in the field. Looking around, Nangong Yi and Qi Yi stand back to back and cautiously deal with the experts in the Beast Gate. They cooperate with each other so that they can't get close to the experts in the Beast Gate. Situ Lan stabbed a black-robed man in the heart with his sword. Turning around, he saw that a man of Yun family army was surrounded by 4 or 5 black-robed men. So he rushed to Yun family army from the heavy encirclement, killed the people around him and rescued him. The Yun family army smiles at Situ Lan and nods to greet him. Then he continues to rush into the battle. Situ Lan takes a breath and looks down at his messy wound. He has no choice but to smile bitterly. Fortunately, there is no fatal wound.